Welcome to Season 7 of True Blue Conversations with your host, Adam Bloom. Real talk with those who pledge to keep us safe with grit, sacrifice and determination. Let's get on with the show. This episode of True Blue Conversations is proudly brought to you by Loudon Private Wealth, the team trusted by professionals, veterans and families across Australia to build real long-term financial security. If you want to take control of your finances, protect your future and build real generational wealth, Loudon Private Wealth are the people you want in your corner. They don't do gimmicks, they don't do hype, just smart strategy and honest advice, coupled with real-world experience. Check out the links in the description to contact Warren and the team via loudonpw.com.au or 02 8313 0418. Now let's get back to the show. This episode of True Blue Conversations was brought to you by Dead Reckoning Rum, creating individual rum releases commemorating the diggers lost in Afghanistan, proudly supporting veterans, donating 50% of all their profits to veterans organisations around Australia. Look up Dead Reckoning Rum, buy some bottles, connect via Instagram and Facebook and give them your support. Now, let's get back to the show.
G'day, welcome back to True Blue. Today I'm joined by, he's a good mate of mine actually, we've become mates and he's got his own little platform happening and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. He's got a podcast and he's started a movement for fathers and it's about time. All I can say is it's about bloody time and he is an absolute legend and an inspiration for fathers and just as a human of how he lives his life, and it's an absolute honour to be sitting with him and get his story recorded. And he is an Australian veteran, distinguished Australian veteran who has served his country and served in the mighty 2 RAR. So
that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one, as some people say, you know. There's
second to none.
Yeah, that's it. And on multiple deployments around the world, and now he has, as I said, has started a movement for fathers who are broken and are, you know, the system against fathers and, you know, seeing their children. And it just, some of the guests that he's had on is just absolutely unbelievable, and also his own story. And we're going to talk about that. So, Jared Purcell, welcome to the podcast.
Mate, what an introduction. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's an absolute honour to be sitting across from you, mate. And we've been teeing this up for a little while now. But, mate, before we get into, you know, Broken Fathers, the podcast, how that movement started, let's go back to a young Jared. Talk me through life as a young fella.
Mate, born and raised in Brisbane. Grew up in a suburb called Dutton Park. Right next to Bogger Road Jail. My mum's Aussie, my dad's Kiwi, my grandma's Fiji, my grandfather's Samoan. Bit of a fruit salad. But yeah, I've got one brother. He's 6 years older. Childhood was great. Lived in Ronsley Street. People in the area will know it's right next to Bogger Road Jail, and I've mentioned it before, but
the infamous Bogger Road.
The infamous Bogger Road, yeah. And it's funny because my dad's a screw or correctional officer, and his brother was actually in Bogger Road Jail.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So one was a scream, one was a screw. But sorry, mate.
No, you're right, bro.
And then grew up in beautiful Dutton Park, which is a little small suburb, maybe literally 1 minute from the city. Mate, childhood was great. I was a straight A student, believe it or not, in primary school. Pretty much lived at the school. Go to school, finish school, go home, afternoon tea, then go straight back to school and kick the footy with the boys on the oval. Yeah, mate. Yeah.
So were you, with that, mate, like being a straight A student, were you thinking after like high school, okay, I'll go to uni, or what was the path for you?
Nah, so I was a straight A student in primary school. Bear in mind, Dutton Park at that time was, I think the total amount of students there was 400. So it's a very small school, yep. Probably why I did excel there. Then I went to a GPS school, Brisbane State High School, which is in the GPS comp in Queensland. And that's where my grade just went down, because I went from, you know, probably being a popular kid in a small school to not popular in a big high school, and then, you know, not excelling. But
and what, chasing women? That was
girls. You know, I think at that point in time when I went to Brisbane High School, I think it was 2,000 students. I went from 400 to 2,000.
Yeah, big jump.
Girls. My parents did split when I was in grade 8, but nothing like you see today. They're still best mates today. Like, you know, we still have Christmas together. People still think my parents are still together.
Yeah, right.
You know, that's how good their friendship is. So never went to court, never fought over me and my brother. So yeah, grade slump, pretty bad to be honest. In high school, but high school was great. I loved high school, and I did the last 2 years. Back then it was called VotePro, vocational program. So you could do 3 days of school, 1 day of TAFE, and 1 day of work experience. I did a traineeship with Queensland Police Service. So every Friday I'd go to Roma Street headquarters and do just hang out with them. Really, I'll just tag along with someone. But yeah, at the end of my 2 years, I obviously went to schoolies, and I got arrested for public nuisance at schoolies. So,
that was the end of
that was the
police,
traineeship terminated. Yeah,
yeah, right.
But to be honest, mate, you know, even though my parents split, it was my upbringing was great. Always food on the table, always shelter overhead. Like there was never tough times for me, to be honest.
And that willingness to serve, mate, like that follows you, like down the track. You join the army, but did you? Like, so you obviously wanted to be a police officer. That was what you wanted to do.
Oh, I think my dad wanted me to be it. Maybe because his brother he didn't want me to go down the wrong road.
Yeah.
I never really wanted to be a police officer.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, once I finished school, I got my security license. I started bouncing in the valley at the infamous Family Nightclub. I don't know if you remember the Family Nightclub.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
And there was a lot of 6RO boys that were used to bounce on the weekend for extra money, and that's why I met Big Kevy Hayward, a good mate of mine, and he was training me up to. He tapped me on the shoulder, said, "I need to train you up on the door," and I said, "Why?" And he said, "Oh, because I'm about to go to Afghan." So, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And I just started asking questions, and I just thought, "Oh, I don't think I really want a career in bouncing." So, yeah, and that's how I ended up joining the army at 20.
And with that, you're around those guys. Did you have any other family that had served in the military, or were you the first?
No, so I was my mum's father, my grandfather served in New Guinea, but no, that's it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, mate, you joined up in 2008, and talk me through the process back then, because we're in a politically correct world now. It's very different. What was the process back in 2008?
The process was. I'll tell you another story which I haven't told on other podcasts before. So when I grew up, I had a pretty colourful upbringing in the sense that, I don't know if you know of the Fitzgerald Inquiry.
Yes.
So I won't go too much in depth of it, but I'll say this part. So my godfather's anyway, he was saying to my dad, he was thanking my dad for saving her life, and you know, he's like, you know, whatever you want, tell me. And my mum's in the background whispering in my dad's ear, like, tell him to pay off the mortgage, tell him to pay off the mortgage.
Yeah.
And Dad's like, no, it's fine, it's all good. So he ended up giving my dad one of the casinos, but he got shut down like a week later. But I remember there was roulette tables and all that stuff downstairs at the house. We had a big Queensland and Dutton Park. Yeah. So the reason I don't go too much in that, because I know it just never ends. And oh, man, all that's still working. So
let's go back just a second. Before 2008, 9/11, mate. What do you remember of that day?
Yeah, I was in grade 8.
Yeah, right.
I was in grade 8. And, yeah, I remember I was living at Maruka with Mum. So Mum and Dad just split, living at Maruka. And I just remember 3 a.m. I could hear Mum watching TV. And I was just like, Mum's very routine, cup of tea before bed, same time, wake up. And I remember getting up and walking out, and she was just like, yeah, son, this has just happened. So, yeah, but, you know, I guess looking back, you're in shock. But, you know, I was 13 at the time. You still you go to school, people are talking about, but we're 13. What do we know? You know?
Yeah. And did you foresee that you'd be in Afghanistan all those years later?
No, not even that. I didn't think I'd been in the army then. It wasn't until I met Big Kevy Hayward on the door at the Family Nightclub that's when I was going to join the army. Yeah. And
then, so you go into the recruiter and go, "Hey, I want to join up," or
so I remember what's it called, Joe's Day?
Joe's Day. I've heard that. Yeah, Joe's Day.
You go in. You do the test, you know, I don't know how my results came back, but I don't think it really matters when you want to become a grunt, you know. So it's like, yeah, mate, what do you want to be, grunt? Oh, yep, you passed for that. So I remember I was bouncing, went through the process, had to do the beep test and all that type of stuff. I can't remember what the level was or how many push-ups you had to do. And yeah, and I remember I wasn't in Blimba at the time, so I was bouncing. I moved all my stuff back to Mum's, and yeah, I I remember Mum dropped me off. I'm a big mummers boy. How I was 20.
Mate, so am I.
Yeah,
Love it. Shout out to our mums.
I was like, oh shit. And then mate, I was on the flight down to Sydney and then on the bus.
So, mate, talk me through, getting to Kapooka, because Kapooka back in 2008, very different to what it is now.
Yeah.
And very Afghanistan, Iraq, we're in full swing. Like, this is the busiest time of, Australia's military, deployments are going everywhere, Solomon Islands, East Timor. Are you joining thinking, all right, we're in, like, we're going to get a trip here, or talk me through Kapooka?
Yeah, so I mean, Kevin and a few of the 6 boys were going on trips, and they'd already done some before then. So I was pretty certain that I'm joining up and I'm going to get a trip. And I remember going down to Kapooka. Get on the bus. That CSM that's on the bus, that's real nice. He just, as soon as you drive through those gates, he gets up and he just changes. He's yelling and carrying on. I remember when we got marched down in my platoon, there was already a guy in camp, so he must have been back squad. He must have been there a few weeks. And I remember him whispering to me, he's like, "You don't know what you're in for." And I was just, and then next thing you know, he's lying on the ground. He was obviously just, I don't know, taking the piss or something. He just wanted to get out.
Yeah.
I just remember. I remember that they pretty much drove that to us in our heads during that time in Kapooka. That there's trips going on, like East Timor, Iraq, and Afghanistan were all in their prime. This was 08, so, and everything was, even when you do all your PowerPoint presentations down there at Kapooka, the Seco, the corporals, instructors would always give you a little glimpse of a little teaser video before the lesson, and they'd have all the deployment videos, and and I think back then the goal was always to get white camp, like desert camp. Sorry, you always wanted the desert camp. It means you've been there.
I still, mate, I still reckon they're the coolest camps. Actually,
yeah, so do I. And I never really got to wear them, to be honest.
Right.
The one trip I didn't do Iraq, so I did team on Afghan, but we took them over there to Afghan, but we just never won because we got the Cry Cam.
Yeah.
Cry Cam came in for my trip.
Right. And so, mate, you do your 12 weeks, and then do you get your mum and dad to come down and see you march out?
Yes, I was in 21 platoon, which was affiliated with the Vietnam veterans. So they came down on their bikes, and mum and dad came down, did the march out, went to town that night, and then I think back to base, and the next day went to town again, said goodbye, and they were proud, and then off to Singo. Yeah,
what's made if Kapooka's? I've heard so much about Singo. What was that like?
I'll touch before we leave Kapooka.
Yeah, sure.
I got a mate he was in the Foreign Legion there, and over 10 years ago. Now he's just joined up recently. He's literally just finished Kapooka like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, right.
It was 9 weeks. They had weekends. What freaked me out was he was sending me. I could see when he was online on Instagram chat. And it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday night. I'm like, how can he be online? Because when I went through, everything gets taken off you. You might get your phone on a Sunday when you go to church.
Yeah.
And then he was sending me WhatsApp videos of guys marching up and down the lines, and I think it's really. And he told me, not that he can compare, but he just said, I don't think it's anything like what you like the army that you remember, or the Kapooka that you went through. So
because most of the guys I've spoken to, and I've spoken to over 150 now.
Yeah.
They all say Kapooka was, you were smashed from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. And then you did rinse, repeat the whole time. And now they're on bloody.
That's right. And I remember. So I don't know if it's gone from 12 to 9. What did they cut out? Because we were jam packed for those 2 weeks, and they had like weekends off. Not every weekend, but they had weekends. And I was just like, it's weird. Like, and it sounds like the intensity of getting beasted's not there anymore. I'm sure it's there, but nothing like what it used to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now you look at it where we are now, mate. There's no wars. We're peacetime again, and I'll bite my tongue. I won't say what I'm going to say. I think we'll leave it as because when you join, it was very different. Now. I mean,
the soft army's gone soft.
Yeah, well, they're wearing dresses now.
That's right. And I never thought the woke would penetrate the army. Yeah, because it's the army, right? The whole point of joining the army is to get beasted and test yourself, and are they going to break you? And
that's right.
I mean, I heard they implemented this pulling the card years ago. They tried it in a platoon. I've been told where if you felt like you've been yelled at, you could pull out a card, amber card, something. You're like, well, we're going to send these people to war, and what are you going to do in Taliban shooting? You pull out a fucking card?
Yeah, sorry.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah,
no, that's right.
But yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, so I go to Singo, and then we got put in a holding platoon. So Singo was cool. We started doing new drills, but it was kind of playing touch football as well. It was kind of like that they didn't know what was going on. They needed numbers, and I remember they said, put down your preferences. Where do you want to go? And, everyone's put 6 RAR, and then they said, I remember the second said, try and get in the Northern Battalion, and we were still alone in then. So they said, what's that? 1 or 2. So I think I said 612 or 621.
Yeah.
And they said, sweet, no worries, you're going to Tuareg tomorrow, pack your bags. And so we did our IETs in Tuareg.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Talk me through that, because that would have been very different to Singo.
That's right. Well, I can't compare because, I didn't do IETs in Singo, but from what I've been told from the secos, you can imagine the secos in Tuareg said, put their hand up, hey, boys, who wants to put your hand up to run these IETs through in Tuareg? Like, I think they got more leeway to really have fun with us, which they did. Yeah. And good on them, But, it was, at least in Singo, you're around other IETs, whereas I went to Tuareg, we were in the battalion doing IETs around, or marching digs, and we used to be like PT. I remember, I've said it before, they'd make us warm up around all the parade grounds, and they'd always make us start PT just before all the other companies. So that, because we had to wear our brown shirts with our surnames.
Yep.
And as we'd run around all the, Delta, Charlie, Bravo, Alpha, we'd just cop it like, you're only protected species for 12 more weeks. And then as the weeks went on, they'd count it down and they'd come up on the boozer nights. We weren't allowed. We had to stay in line. Our lines was actually on the battalion. It wasn't separate. And they'd get on the piss and they'd come up in the middle of the night and they'd wake us up and take our money and, but looking back now, it was all fun.
Well, it's all character building, isn't it?
That's right, and like you had to, they were like, you better earn your, like you got to earn your stripes to come to this battalion, so, and they had the mad minute, the boozer where guys are punching on, and I was like, holy fuck. Like,
you're thinking yourself, go, wow, what have I joined? Like,
well, yeah, I'm not, I can hold myself, but when I first went to that boozer and I just saw the environment, people punching on, I was like, holy shit. Yeah.
So, mate, you finish your, and is that like, so because you can't compare it to Singo, what is that, 3 months, and then that's it? Then
So 3 months, yep, we did our 3 months, and so at the end of the challenge, you do the hardcore, and what they did was they smashed us, and what they did was they right up towards the end, they said, righto boys, we don't need to do I can't remember how many clicks it was, the 15 click at the end, and we're like, really? He goes, yeah, that's it, we're just going to cut it here, congrats, he's all done, clean your weapons in, and we were flogged, proper flogged us.
Yeah.
And what they did was they said it was like, you can go across the road, smash a fee. So we've been flogged for 2 weeks. We've gone across the road, washed up. Our mentality, our mind again, we've switched off. Like, that's it. We're done, boys. We're here. We've smashed Hungry Judge, come back. And we're so flogged that we just pass out straight away. So we've gone to bed like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
About 11 o'clock at night, pipes and drums come in, bagpipe. And I remember I was that fatigued that they were playing, and it took them a couple of minutes for me to wake up,
Yeah, right.
And they're like, do you really think you weren't going to do that clicker? So it made us worse because we'd switched off. We had a gut full of food. Like, I'd rather have just done it there and then.
Yep.
And so, then we did that, and that was it. And, parents flew up for that. We had a march out up in Townsville. And then straight into battalion, straight into Alpha Company. And
so you're very quickly, you deployed to East Timor in 2009.
Yeah, so I marched in Alpha Company October 2008, and then pretty much, I suppose that year fills it out, then we came back, and then we were straight in the training, and then we deployed April 2009. Like,
so you're like on a high, mate.
Yeah.
Straight in, and talk me through your East Timor deployment.
I suppose it's all timing, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, East Timor was great. I mean, we had our OC, Major McLennan. He's actually still in. He's high up. I've seen him on the news. But our pre-deployment, like right the week before we left, he just pulled out of nowhere. Right, we're doing a 30 clicker. We're doing this. We're doing that. It's like he felt like he was trying to break us before we went. But it was literally the week before we went on leave. But flew over there. It was 1, 2, and 3 platoon. We went to Bicau first. No, Chevelle first, which was in Dili. And when I first got there, I was like, man, this was obviously well developed by then. I went there in 2009. Had the gym. We had our aircon Connex. So this was the first FOB we went to, though.
Yeah.
And I was like, mate, this is awesome. I was bulking, training, went on patrol, and then once they rotated us out, we started going up to Gleno and other Bacau, and then the conditions were much more terrible, and then we're getting flogged, and we were doing training exercises. It was weird. Like, we were on deployment, and they were doing exercises, so it was a long trip in the end, probably because the rotation of different FOBs that we went to. But great experience. I was 20, turning 21, on patrol, tooled up.
And what's that mindset, mate, of, you're over there, live ammunition, it's not blanks, this is, that's a switch.
Yeah, I think the mind, we're all guilty of doing it. We all go there going, we're going to war, we're going to get a kill, but... I mean, what else would you think? You know what I mean?
Well, you're on deployment.
That's
it's
right.
only natural, mate.
Yeah,
and you're 21 years old.
We all think we're going to get a kill or something.
Yeah.
But first patrol, I remember going on patrol, live ammo, and I vaguely remember, but the adrenaline was going. But I suppose it slowly fades away once you settle in there.
And as you mentioned, you were trying to bulk up, mate, going out further and further. Did you lose all that?
I bulked hard the first 2 months, you get our subs, and I was training with a mate of mine, O'Brien, and then we went up to Gleno, and I got gastro, like proper gastro. People get it. Oh, I got a little bit of gastro. No, I was vomiting and shitting, dehydrated, headaches. And I was out there for 3 days before they took me down to hospital. And I remember because the nurses laughed. They just said, I remember saying to the doctor, I said, it feels like my asshole's been raped. And I remember because all the nurses were joking about it, Yeah. And I remember I had to eat rice and potato for a couple of days. But, then I just got real skinny for a while. And then because we were doing exercises, it was weird. They made us, we were putting it on PFAs. It was we brought it up at the end of the trip, going, what's going on? Is this still operational deployment? Because now we're doing... a lot of blank ammo and putting BFAs on. So, but still, it was a good stepping stone towards Afghan.
Yeah. And you, mate, I was talking to a mate last night actually up in Brisbane, and we caught up. He's an army veteran himself, and we caught up for dinner, and we were talking to he got alcoholic poisoning, and he was like, have you had that? And I said, no, but I've had severe gastro, I've had Giardia, and also I had salmonella poisoning. Ooh. And I ended up in hospital on a drip for 3 days. Yeah. So I know what you're talking about, man. Mate, you think it's coming out both ends, and you think, is this ever going to end?
Right.
I feel like what else am I going to am I going to shit out an intestine or something? Right. Because it just keeps coming, and and especially over there too. It's hot, so you would have been in a world of hurt, mate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Once we left Cheval in the aircon connexes, we went to Gleno, where I was just there's no aircon up there, and just made all that.
So how long was that deployment for?
8 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
so,
8 months.
Mate, would you cashed up, come back? Did you invest in Bitcoin or something? Or?
I heard all these stories about AJ because I used to save my money growing up,
Yeah.
And I used to hear these stories when I joined the army about AJs blowing their money on deployments. I'm like, I'd hear all these stories. I'm like, what a fucking loot. What dickheads. Who does that?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you... And sure enough, because, we don't get taught about finances growing up here.
That's right. Yeah,
and, so he came back, bought, my brother's holding VZ Ute, Thunder Ute, 22.
Yeah.
It was 22. I said, how much you want for it? It's 22. I said, pay that cash. And then we did this silly shit. I went to Versace and all the festivals down here at the time. And just blew it all. But, it's a learning curve, so.
100%, man.
Yeah.
It's all, mate, we've all been there. We've all had money. And then young.
I only know one AJ. He won't mind me saying his name. Dougie Walter, Liam Dougie Walter, X6RR. I think he's the only one from deployments that put all his money away and just bought investment, and he had 3 or 4 or 5 houses. He was that one guy that did it right.
And everyone else, mate.
Everyone else, see you later. Off to the strippers.
Yeah, that's it. But I mean, Thunder Utes, mate. They were a good car, mate.
Yeah, they were good. But I don't really know. I like cars. I don't know. I'm not a rev head. I don't know engines or anything. But I was black rings. But when you came back from, especially in Townsville, during that deployment period. The Holden and the Ford car yards, they were raking and stuff. And if you drove on base with a new ute, that means, he's done a deployment. If you had a new ute, you've done a deployment.
So you come back, mate, and then how are you travelling after that first trip? You're pretty, okay, happy?
Not too bad. I remember we were a bit fatigued, only because there was a bit of drama with our brass towards the end. I think the platoon had been with each other too long, and there's a bit of... so there's a famous story, sorry. I've said it before. So Wilson, when we handed our weapons in, you could do that 3-day decompression period before you fly back. I think it was called Innofed or Innofed, whatever it's called, the compound. You're there for 3 days, and you have 2 beers a day. But we get the Terps would go out, buy all the piss, and we'd all be stacked up in so many rooms drinking, even the secos, everyone. And then my mate Wilson, Kyle Wilson, he was blind. He staggered to the toilets, and obviously they got their MPs to do the security on the compound because we've all handed our weapons in. And I remember this big MP came in. I was in a piss trough, and my mate staggered in, and this MP followed him and he goes, "Oi, are you drunk?" And my mate looked at me, and I looked at him, and the MP said to me, "Do you know this guy?" And I said, "No, I don't know. I've never seen him before." And my Wilson winked at me, and he's shook his dick and turned around. He pushed the MP out the way. He's ran, and he get all this commotion. Like, "Oh, get back here!" And you could see everyone's opened the door a little bit to look down. Going, "Oh shit!" Like
commotion's going on. Yeah.
And this MP's grabbed Wilson, and Wilson's turned around, and just dropped him, knocked him clean. Yeah.
Wow,
this is a well-known story. Like in our time. Anyway, now this is, I swear on my daughter's life, I've said this before. The whole of Alpha Company came out and surrounded him. Everyone's carrying on and this MP drew his weapon on us. So he didn't point it, but he drew his 9mm on us.
Wow,
yeah, man, 100%. And I remember Major McLennan. He saw. I don't know if he saw that part, but I remember he popped his head out from. He wasn't drinking, but he sort of popped his head out from afar. Saw what was going on there. I could kind of see it was just like, mate, boys being boys. It's the end of trip. Just turned and went back to his room, which is good.
Yeah, 100%.
But and then they called for backup from Phoenix. Yeah, so they had all this backup of MPs rock up to this command, and we were young. We weren't just standing going, "Oi, mate, what's going on?" We were like, "Oh, you fuck, let him go," like thing. And next thing we were filling up condoms full of piss and throwing out the paddy wagon. It was a full out. Anyone that was in Alpha 2 platoon Alpha Company that will back this up.
Yeah.
And actually, Fabsy, the dentist, he was actually an RP at the time. Yeah, so he'll tell the story too.
Yeah, right.
And then, so they lock Wilson in a separate room. They call a big meeting and tell everyone to calm down, and it kind of sells a bit. And they take Wilson and then they take 2 of my other mates. One's a lawyer now, believe it or not. I won't say his name, but they took him back to. We all flew back. They kept 3 of them there, and there was one MP or RP there. His name was Richo. I don't know if he's dead now. He had it out for me because the boys are telling me when they were in the car, they're like, "I know that Percy. He was involved and blah blah blah." But so yeah, when they flew, we flew back to Australia. And then when Wilson flew back to Australia, he landed in Townsville. They kicked everyone off, and they kept him on the plane. And they flew him straight to Holsworthy, and he did his time down in Holsworthy.
Yeah. How long did he get?
What I found out was because I always thought if I'm in the Holsworthy, I'm not playing their game. You can yell and yahoo all you want. I'm just going to have my 3 square meals a day, and when my time's up, I'll leave. And Wilson was like, "It doesn't work like that. Your time starts when you start playing their game." Yeah, so you're fucked either way.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
and like there's different lines. You got to walk up to the line and ask for permission. Then you got to advance to the next line. Then they'll make you turn around, like ask to go to the toilet. Like it's just he said it was hell. You can't win. But he was saying the RSM gave Scott Watson gave him a call out on Christmas Day. Had a bit of a laugh with him.
Yeah.
But sorry, I remember what I was going on. So towards the end of the trip, everyone's a bit sort of drained.
What happens in battalion when you go on a bit of leave, come back?
6 weeks leave, come back, and then that was like 2010, and it was kind of that period like, so what's next? I think Afghan has been spoken about a little bit, and it was just training, bush exercises, tully, bush exercises.
How'd you go bush?
But I was a better barracks sergeant than I was bush because I have OCD, and it took me like I was in Kapuka when they said we're going out bush. I was like, "Oh yeah, so we're going to stay in cabins." The second's like, "What do you mean cabins?" I'm like, we're staying in cabins, and he's like, "No, there's no cabin out there." I said, "Where we sleep?" Like in the ground. I was like, "What?" So I shower like 4 or 5 times a day. I actually had my OCD was really bad growing up. Like I'd turn taps on 15, 20 times.
Yeah, right.
I'd rearrange everything. Yeah, so it was.
That would have been hard in the army, man.
It was very hard. Yeah, now I hide it. I'm not like that. I can hide stuff, but like like the room inspections I remember doing a room inspection at Kapuka. I smashed it, and the secco just looked at me and beasted me, and he read me like a book because my roommate, I looked at the way he set up his closet, and I thought, what a fuck fight. And I looked at mine, and in my head I said, you're just going to make me look so much better. And that secco, Corporal McNorton, he came in, he looked at his, he looked at mine, and he looked at me and just said, you're a piece of shit. And I was like, and he goes, you're squared away. You looked at his, you knew he wasn't squared away, and you knew it was going to make you look better. And I was just like, fuck.
So he's basically saying you're Jack.
I was Jack Hunt. You're Jack Hunt. You made that to make you look better. So, sorry, man, waffle on OCD.
So that was a real struggle, like so you're a better barrack soldier than you were
better
bush.
barrack soldier, yeah.
Did you like the craftsmanship of going and doing being an infantry soldier?
Yeah, I did. I just hated not showering. Like, I hated not showering. If we could go out there and shower every day, sweet. But I just have this thing for like dirt.
You got to be clean.
Yeah, I got to be clean. Yeah.
And you talk about that now, and we're going to get to Afghanistan in a minute. That would have been a whole another challenge in Afghanistan.
I think it was a bit easier. I suppose we did have our showers in Timor, but I suppose I built a bit of a resilience by then. But yeah, 2010, man, we just got pumped with exercises. I did mortar course, I did SIG course. I just thought, fuck, to better my chance. And then they started talking about Afghan, but we weren't too sure what battalion was next. So I thought, well, what two support courses are going to help benefit me get on a trip? Well, SIGs, you always need comms, and mortars, So did SIGs and mortars, and sure enough, we got to confirm that our battalion was next. And then I was lucky. I was in a rifle company, but one of the lads pulled out a mortar course who's going to get engaged. Poor cunt, he never ended up marrying her. But he pulled off. He had mortars, and I put my hand up and got straight into mortars.
Right.
I had the infamous Secco BB, Bale and Butler, and we were deployed to Afghan in June 2011.
So talk me through this. Like this is a step up from East Timor.
Yeah.
So you've had that little, and most veterans I've spoken to have said, that they were glad that they had the stepping stone of Timor to then deploy to Afghan because, and I was talking to a couple of SF guys that I caught up with yesterday, and they said, they were really glad that they stepped and had Timor to then, if they had gone Afghan first, it's a big learning curve of, this different war, mate.
It's a whole different ballpark. I know there were some guys that were on that trip, and across all battalions, that their first trip or only trip was Afghan, and some guys didn't return from Rockall, because that was their first trip. It was so intense, So
talk, mate. Landing country, and this is the real Afghanistan. Like, we are losing people left, right, and centre. Did you go over there thinking there's a real possibility that I might not come back?
Yeah, I remember the CSM Munn, he said, look, boys, no one's forcing you to go, so if no one wants to go, put your hand up or come see me in private. I remember that. No one was forced to go. And he just said, don't expect that everyone's going to come back, So I remember when I got to the airport, there was the cook that got shot and killed. I forget his name. Apologies to the family if they're listening, but I was at the Brisbane airport, and I remember they just published his face, because I remember he was holding the two,
Jonesy, I think his name was. Yeah, Jonesy.
The cutting knives, And then, so then I was like, oh shit, that's pretty surreal now. I'm literally at the airport. And then we flew to Dubai. We're there, I don't know, maybe a week. You do you go through all your first aid drills again as well. You do ID package. I mean, we've already done it, but they just want to refresh it up. And it's good because they actually have real human beings that are amputees, kicking and screaming with fake blood going all over. You don't just want to do it on a dummy. That's not realistic, And I remember doing all that, and then then we flew from, and I was in Malta, so Malta's had that reputation of being the loose cowboys, a bit of rebels. We do what we want. Two of us had our hands tattooed. And we flew into I remember as soon as we flew in the TK, we got off, and the IDF alarm had gone off. Now, we didn't know what the alarm was. I can't remember if they briefed us in Dubai, but I just remember, what the fuck is that? And they were just like, fucking take cover, run. And then, we just ran to the closest hub, or whoever was giving us the tour. And, man, I remember we were there for 3 or 4 days. I was sorting out, Chinooks and choppers to take us to all our different FOBs. And, then we finally jumped on the Chinook to go out to FOB Wali. And then, I just remember sitting on top of the Chinook and looking out down in the terrain, just going, oh, fuck, we're here now. Like, this is it.
This is a real moment.
We're going out to the FOB,
Yeah. And do you remember, like, the first time you got into contact and you like...
The first night we got, so we were mortar, so there's FOB Wali, and then there's the high ground, like, observation point, post, sorry. And so we landed, they gave us a tour around the FOB, then they sent mortars up the hill. So 5 RAR were up there, mortars, and I just remember, looking over the valley and rounds just started cracking off, tracer rounds, and we just hit the ground like all our tour boys first day in country.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I remember clear as day, like, we're chucking that kit on. The 5 hour boys, they just had the shirts on, they didn't even kit up, and they were just smoking darbs, just going, yeah, it's all right, boys, you'll get used to it, And I was just like, yeah, shit, righto. So I remember that clear as day. And I remember trying to wait for the fire boys because they had to do a handover for a couple of days before they left, because they were just the hub they were in was just no bigger than this lounge.
Yeah.
It was just filth. It was just like, you couldn't even see the floor. It was just filth and dirt. I remember when they finally left, we had to clean it all out. But yeah, we just sort of, us mortars, we just sort of settled in there because we didn't really go out and patrol for the first 2 months or so. We were just settling in there. We had the RD-155 guns up there. We were doing missions and all that, fire missions and heaps of loom missions, but it wasn't until 3-4 Cav they wanted us to go out on, attach with them, go out on patrols. And yeah, there was one time we got in contact, but like we were inside the Bushmaster, so guys were cracking rounds of us, so we were pretty safe. And then we'd get out and set up the tubes, crash action, and yeah, I remember the first, obviously, Matty Lambert sort of ID, and that was, I remember CSM Boldy, really good CSM actually. He just come up one morning and broke the news to us, and it was kind of like, wow, like, we were quite shocked.
So that you go back to when you're in Australia and at home, saying someone might not come back, and it happened, mate. It happened, and that would have, like, did you know him personally? Like,
yeah, I knew Matty personally, not as close as like I've got some footage actually on my laptop. On our pre-deployment, I lived in a unit in Townsville, and he was with another bloke. He's over west, so I won't say his name, but we lived in the same complex, But I wasn't as tight with him as some of the other boys.
Still a shock, though. From your battalion, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and then it's kind of like shit, and then you just think, fuck, I've cut comms, you can't call home. I thought, fuck, mum's going to be stressing because they haven't released the name yet. And yeah, it's kind of like, I remember my secco was kind of like, we just got to crack on, boys. And then my good mate Coco, Quirky.
Good. Previous guest on the podcast, mate. Champion of a bloke. Yeah.
So me and him were kind of like, because, we're kind of like the brown boys. I'm not as dark as him, but we're kind of like the brown boys of the company. So he was in Wali, so he was down. So some days I'd just walk down by myself, hang out with him in the medical hub. We'd talk crap and talk footy. And then I remember the ID had actually gone off, and I could see it. I didn't know what happened. I heard the ID go off from where we were in the OP, and I looked down and I could see red smoke get popped, So I knew it was bad because obviously, when ID goes off, it bangs out the comms, and bushies can't communicate to each other, so they got to either check your vehicle, is everyone good? We'll throw green smoke. Oh shit, we've got a casualty, someone popped red. So again, I didn't know who it was at the time, but I saw red smoke. Then I remember Lukey, my 2IC, I don't know how the comms come through or how he found out, but he come up, he goes, oh mate, it's Coco. I was like, fuck. And then, it was just kind of like shit, like it's just really, really starting to get real here. And I can't remember how we found out later on down the track, how bad it was, but yeah, obviously that was a big shock, especially being our medic, And then Painey, our other medic, actually Alpha Company, he was involved in the green on blue later on. He got shot, it was a very surreal moment. Yeah,
and like Coco's a mate, and just go back and listen to Coco's episode because. He died 3 times. And a miracle to be here.
Was it? I think he had 16 surgeries before he woke up, or something.
16 surgeries. 16, it just blows your mind, mate. That he's just I think I'm struggling, mate, and I look at what he goes through on a day to, you
Yeah.
know, is it like drugs to wake up and drugs to go to sleep,
Yeah.
and he's in, you know, constant like 8 or 9 pain
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And you know, I use a quote from him, and he's more than happy for me to use it. He said, "Brother, whenever I have those down times," he said, "I live by this mantra. The first 3 steps that you take in any one day will be the hardest steps you take. If you can take those steps, you can accomplish anything in life."
Yeah,
And very, mate.
Yeah, man.
He's
And
gone
still
through
here
hell and
today,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, like, and so that happens, mate. And does that rock you because you've lost Matty, and then Coco's hit?
Yeah.
Like, is this?
Yeah, because he was like my morale, to be honest, because, you know, he was a sergeant at the time, and for those who know that, you know, if you don't really know someone, you can't really speak to them very loosely. You know, you address them as sergeant, but, you know, when you're mates with someone, and, you know, the rank goes out, you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it would go down just to give each other shit and talk shit football. You know, I'm a Rooster supporter, so we, you know, give each other shit. And I had a football too. I brought a football, and you know, we'd kick the football. I remember I always took inflatable, like they would inflate them over there, and then yeah, it was just kind of another kick in the teeth, I guess. You know, so I didn't really have someone to go down and speak to during the days. I was stuck up on the hill, so.
And are you just compartmentalising this at that point, like with your of all these traumas that are happening? Is you're just putting them to the back of your mind at this point?
Yeah, looking back now, I feel like my mind's slipping a little bit these days. But looking back now, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, I remember the back end of the trip. So after the green and blue incident, I was just like, I was so off it. I remember, so I got the word incentive tattooed around my ankle there because I got a phone call. My mates had a daughter, and they asked me to be the godfather. So she was my incentive to return home. You know, so. I remember, it wasn't called Anaconda, it was, I'll get the name wrong, so I don't want to, the boys will correct me, but there was a Afghan dude that opened up on a 50 cal in OP, Charmison 3 Ways, I think it was called. And I remember we were just really on edge patrolling through that, because the boys told me they took the pin out of the 50 cal anyway, but, you know, that was the 50 cal where old mate opened up on the boys. And
right.
I think he shot one of the boys through his ankle, had to get fused, and got one of the other boys, I think one of the Baker brothers, in the back. And, you know, at that point, I was kind of like, I remember just thinking to myself, like, instead of patrolling my arcs, I remember I was just looking at the ground all the time, and I just thought, I remember at one point I was just thinking, fuck, I'd rather just stand on something and get over and done with, you know. I just lost all that incentive drive to get home.
And that's showing where your mind's at, that you're all these things are happening, but you're
starting to shut off.
You're starting to shut off.
Down,
and that's on a deployment. And when there's an
yeah.
IED threat, you've got, you know, like the green on blues, which would ramp up, and then the next year, you know, the 3 boys would be killed, and from, you know, it's just wild. And so, do you lose anyone else on that trip apart from Matty?
Matty, so Gav, Bird, and Duffy. Yep, involved at green on blue. I remember that happened out at, I don't want to get this wrong either. I know it was Samad, but yeah, you know, from memory, you know, they had, you know, A&A in the same compound. And I think they were having coffee, they were brewing in the morning, they were coming up the point, and a rogue Afghan had come up just from behind and sprayed all the boys and hit Painey, who was our other medic Afghan, and he actually worked on guys while he'd been shot. So I think I was speaking about it previously. You know, he obviously killed 3. I think 6 were injured in total, and I think 1, he didn't get shot. He was a captain, and I think he suffers from survivor's guilt which is, from my understanding, the way it's explained, it's a lot different to PTSD. He wishes everyone got shot. So for me, war standing in a gaggle, you know, he wishes that he did get shot. So because, you know, he just feels guilty.
Terrible thing, mate. You know, and I think I've heard that story that someone told me that if he had it been to the left,
1 centimetre,
to 1 centimetre to the left or the right, he would have been shot. And now he's just a wreck. Right? And understandably, like, you know, you're standing there watching other people get taken down, and you're, you know, terrible, mate. And so that all happens, mate. And then, so you're pretty cooked after this, aren't you? Like, you're coming back.
Very drained. Yeah, very drained. Oh, you know, one thing I was lucky looking back now is I had awesome. Our company was all like the Delta boys, they had a fucking shit time. Like Huggo, have you had Huggo on your one?
No, I haven't had. I'm trying to get him on. Yeah.
Huggo for the boys. He's all for the boys. The boys in Delta, when they were leaving country, and you had your psych. When I went through, you just told them what they want to hear. Yes, no, yes, no. Oh, yep, sweet, goodbye. Some of them boys in Delta, they were there for like hours, letting off some stuff because the brass fucked them over big time.
Yeah.
From my experience, my secco all the way up to our sergeants, our CSMs, our majors was awesome. My CSM Baldy was one of those ones where I was shit scared of him in the battalion because he was one of those ones that when you parked your car in the morning and then you walk over cages, if you didn't have your shoes on, you'd hide in the bush, charge. And you're like, oh, what? Like, he was one of those ones.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. But when he was on deployment, he was different. It was just that flick of a switch. He was for the boys, Yeah.
So, well, that's what they should be though.
Yeah. The Delta one that they had, he was real cool on base, but on deployment he was bad.
Oh,
so for
right.
Galloway,
Yeah. So you see the difference in and you see the difference in leadership too. And there's, as you said, there's the barracks soldier, and then there's the field soldier, and
that's right.
Yeah, that doesn't fly good.
Yeah.
And so you come back, and then do you go on leave? What happens?
Go on leave, discharging.
So is that? Talk me through that process because you're done?
Yeah, but just that trip was very. OP, right? When OP, no toilets, so it's different to the FOB down below. We had no toilets, no showers, no running water. Like we didn't. The one meal we got a day was sent up from down below. It was actually slop. Like we didn't eat it. Like actually, our CSM sent him home. He said, I don't know what was going on in his life. I won't judge him for it, but he sent him home. Like, what they were cooking was, no one was eating it. And so, we would just have these, the 20-litre jerrys, and you just sort of fill up in one of those camping sort of shower canvas.
Yeah, yep. I know the ones.
Greens thing, that was it, and then in winter time, oh, geez. But, we just shat in a big plastic bag down the back there over the lip of a board, and we had a big burn pit. So, it was, and, we were sleeping on a stretcher with a bit of. They had these shitty little foam mattresses. I don't know where they got them from, but they weren't mattresses. But my back was aching, and it was a long 8 months, man. Yeah, it was a long 8 months.
Mate, that would just degrade, and that would just be like grinding you down every day.
It is like some guys are in TK, like. They had the fucking gym, the cafes, the showers, the fucking aircon thing, and each their own, whatever. But we were on the top of a hill, man. It was a long 8 months.
Oh, it would have been, man. Yeah. And so you come back, you cooked, you're done. Like as you say, the to stay, that purpose to stay is not there.
Not there. No, even I remember Obi, my mate I was speaking about before, he was keen and green. I remember he went to do a course. He'd done the SAS selection, that one where they filmed it on.
Yeah.
And he passed, but they turned him around and said, well, you need some more life experience. So he did the Afghan trip, and when he got back, he just said, I think he went to do sniper course. And even I was shocked to hear it. Like they jumped on the mogs, they got out there day one, and he didn't jump off the mog. I think he just said, "Oh, I'm done. I'm not doing this." So he just tapped out. So
was there a mass exit?
Mass exit.
Yeah,
mass
right.
Exit.
So like a lot of your guys.
Everyone had been waiting for that Afghan trip. The carrot had been dangled. We've got it, and then it's just kind of like. I remember Tyson Fury talking about. He goes, I worked my whole life to get this belt, and I finally got the belt, and I just got depressed. Well, what was after that? I hadn't planned for it. I didn't know. And then I just discharged in. Then they said, well, if you discharge in, you can't be in mortars anymore. I was like, fuck. I said, well, I'm not going back to the rifle company. So they sent me to SIGs, and I just fizzled out my time there. And then I was lucky. Actually, when I finished school, I actually went to the mines before I started bouncing. So I forgot them for about 6 months. Yep. About 6 months, then I started security. So I had a lot of family up in Emerald, and they lived there like when the mining boom was on, like when Emerald, everyone else had scissor doors on their cars, and it was just ridiculous. Everyone had like 3 jet skis.
Yeah, right.
So I went out there, and I walked into a job. I was very blessed. I just walked into a gig. Started working underground, and that's when I ended up going to smashing pokies too much at the tavern, and I ended up escalating just real fast, like out of nowhere, and I ended up getting a real bad gambling addiction. And probably put 60 grand of the deployment money through the pokies in probably 3 months.
Fuck.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it just I don't know how to explain it. It just escalated from one machine to max betting to playing two machines to max withdrawing out of the ATM to then walking over to the bank and manually withdrawing money during the day to just I only doing on my days off to doing 12-hour shifts coming back and then having a quick play. Like it just like, spiraled.
I understand, like I know people play, and like I played them when I was younger for a little bit, and then now I'm bored of them. They're fucking boring. But were you passing time, or what was it?
What I realised later down the track, they linked it to my PTSD. I didn't know, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so you're chasing this dopamine. So, out of all the addictions in the world, like I know when we came back, there was heaps of boys. Like one of the boys, he got hooked on drugs, I got hooked on. Everyone's had their thing.
Yeah.
But out of what I've read is, and I'm no subject matter expert, out of all the addictions in the world, gambling addiction has the highest suicide rate. Because if you have a drinking addiction, if you're drunk, you can't hide it. Your speech is slurred, you smell.
Yeah.
If you have a drug addiction, you can tell they're high, your pupils, etc. When you have a gambling addiction, you can say you've gone to work during the day and live a double life, and you can come back and hide it. Oh, I've been at work all day. You haven't. But then what's happened is you're getting deeper and deeper in this hole in quicksand, and you haven't told next thing you know, your mortgage repayments haven't been met. You haven't told your wife. Now you're about to lose your house, and then you don't know how to get out of it. And the next thing you know, a lot of guys taking their lives, or their wife and kids have left. So, yeah, it was just one of those things that it just happens. I don't know how to explain it. It just happens so fast. And I just remember the manager. So Emerald's a small mining town, right? My cousins had lived there since we were 18. I was 20. It had been 6 years later. The manager of the pub called my cousin and said, "This new guy in town, this tatted up dude, is he your cousin?" And he's like, "Yeah, why? What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, he's smashing his pokies, like not breaking them, like just
yeah, I know what you mean. Just
he's
slapping,
here all day, every day, yeah.
Yep.
And they'll taverns won't admit to this, but
they're part of the problem.
Well, mate, they'll feed me for free, they'll drink for free, mate. Oh, get these vouchers for free. Okay, because mate, the money they're making off me, hey, easy,
100%.
Yeah, so. And, I think these days, you notice it now, like you go to some taverns now, everyone drinks for free in the tavern, they have finger food, you know what I think? Because what's that? That's nothing. That's coins, the money that's going in.
That's right.
And I get it. It's a business point of view, but I think it's kind of preying. Like, I think in Western Australia, all pokies are banned, except for casino, which I think they should do here, but, government revenue, right?
Oh, we could go down that path, mate, but we won't.
Like, you drive past... all the taverns will be closed, but the poker room's still open till 4 p.m.
That's right.
For 4 a.m. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yep.
And, now you get all these influencers and they're fucking, Spaniards they hey, jump on this gambling app and, man, fuck you.
Well, it's on TV all the time. Like, kids now, like, you watch sport. Like, you love the Roosters.
Yeah.
You watch sport and, it's half time. Who's going to win the second half? Yeah. Jump on tab bet and put on or sports bet and do
That's
this.
Right. And then right at the end, gamble responsibly.
Yeah.
But Cameron Munster, I don't know if you heard about his story. He got real bad gambling point. He was at half time. He was going in and on his phone gambling.
Fuck. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he talked about
Yeah, right.
Because it was just he just got hooked. I think that's where those years where his form slumped a bit.
Yep,
I think that was around then. So yeah, I decided to, and then the money had all gone. I was now behind on rent. And I was working the mine, so I was just gambling. My cousin said, "You need help," so. I called up. They were useless, so I moved back to Mum's down in Ipswich, and the hardest thing was me telling her. I was like, "I've got something to tell you." It took me about half an hour to tell her. She thought I killed someone. I said, because she had been looking for houses for me to put a deposit on during that time. And I told her, and then she was devastated, but just happy I hadn't killed someone. Yeah. And then I saw counselling. And, they said, "Do you have your theories?" I'm like, "Yeah, if you max bet this, max bet that." And they're like, "Listen, I'll just cut you off. There's no theories." They gave out this leaflet. These machines will pay out X amount when, all these machines that they will take them to the taverns. They'll go, "This machine will make you X amount of profit, full stop." It might pay out $4,000 to that person that's there at the right time.
Yeah.
But you're going to make $22,000 profit or whatever,
That's
It's
right.
all those machines are just a profit. Everyone makes profit.
Mm-hmm.
If you just happen to be there at the right time, right thing. Don't worry about this up bet, down bet shit. And then I was clean, and then I was working at the fruit and veg markets at Rockley for my mate in the meantime, like $500-600 a week. I had to learn to survive again, you know.
Very humbling to...
Yeah, I got humbled, man. And then Nauru kicked off, and then they were hiring ex-army guys, so I went over to Nauru, and I got back on my feet, you know. I was jumped in the emergency response teams there. And then, I was there for 2 years running the emergency response team where all the refugees were being brought in.
What was that like? Did that, like, you're obviously, you know, you're dealing with a lot, mate. Like, you're dealing with addiction. You know, telling your mum, like, I know myself when I told my mum that, you know, I was turning to drugs before I attempted suicide. Mate, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
So for you to go to your mum as well, and you know, you're a proud mummy's boy just like me.
Yeah.
Mate, to put your hand up and like surrender and say I'm in big trouble here, that would have been fucking hard.
Yeah, man, it was. And especially knowing that I just did fucking 8 months, toughest 8 months of my life to make that money, and I've got nothing to show for it, you know. So, but then I just said, instead of waking up every day, because I used to wake up every day going, fuck my life, like I just did 8 months for nothing. Every day I said, you know what, it's done. It is what it is. Learn from it. Fucking move on from now on. Shift the mindset, you know. So,
and it'd be, mate, this is all, you know, resilience building for what's to come in what's happened in the last few years of your life. Like, if you thought that was a shitstorm, what you've walked into, you know, with, and we're going to talk about your little girl in a minute. But mate, it set you up for what you've gone through now. Yeah,
you know, I thought I hit rock bottom then. It wasn't until later on in life when you hit rock bottom and you think, shit, this is rock bottom.
100%. Yeah. So Nauru sort of gives you purpose again, and then you sort of bounce to, like, you then go to PNG doing security work, and you sort of, so that, like, when you do the Nauru thing, you're part of the emergency response, and then is this when you move into your close protection stuff in PNG?
Yeah, so real quick while fucking Albanese is destroying this company with immigration. So for those listening, in 2013, the refugees burnt down the offshore processing centre. It cost $60 million taxpayers' money. It would be more than that. Now, those guys that burnt it down, we separated them. They all went to Nauru prison. I visited Nauru prison myself to check in on them. Then we opened up a separate centre called Bravo Camp. I can't remember. There was probably 100 plus of them in there. Now, these guys were never supposed to be allowed in Australia. They were all flagged. This is what we got told. Back then it was called DIAC, Department of Immigration, something. Then it went DIPP, now the Australian Border Force. Now, these guys, people listening, if you think the government vets people or fucking think again. Because I've witnessed those guys from Bravo Camp that burnt down the offshore processing centre in Australia with my own eyes. Not hearsay, not fucking word of mouth, with my own eyes. I won in Melbourne. And also up here, and then up here in Brisbane and on Goldie, yeah. So, you know, all those guys that were supposed to be flagged, not let in, bullshit. They were in here. So, yeah, so I ventured off to Papua New Guinea and was doing close protection there. So I was looking after a gentleman that was in the gold trade. And long story short, we travel up to Lae and other towns where he'd either had smelting labs set up or he would meet a local who wanted to do a deal with him. So he'd inspect, I forget how he did, like the local would be like, this is my land. He would what's the word, survey, he would check the dirt, like, you know, if he got one pan and it came up with 1 gram of gold, he'd be able to work out how much would come in there. It's above my pay grade how he did it. Yeah. But, and then he'd be like, righto, well, you know, he'd make a deal like, I'll build you guys houses here, but you guys work for me, and, you know, you do the deal, blah, blah, blah. And it was great. I loved, out of all the places I've worked, PNG was the best. Probably because who I worked for, you know, the resources I had, they were quite well known there. Some places I couldn't even pay for food, you know, because they knew who I worked for. And yeah, sometimes we'd grab all the gold bullion, fly from Lae down to Port Moresby, and yeah, it was great. So, and I felt that sort of thrill again since the army, you know. Like, yeah, so the emergency response side of things, I'm not taught is different in Nauru. It's all your public order management, so it's a security side of things. Whereas emergency response in the mines is different. It's all your So, but and then I had a mate's Bucks, Bo, 6R, ex-6RAR, and he just started in close protection in Afghan.
Yeah.
And at the Australian Embassy, and then I met his mate, who became my good mate, Yogi. God rest his soul, he passed away, but he's a big rig weapon. He's like, you want to come back to Afghan? I was like, fuck yeah. And he goes, right, leave with me. And then, next thing before I know, I was flying back to Afghan, which was...
And what was that like going back after you'd left all those years earlier, and then you left on pretty shit circumstances of guy? Like, what was that like going back after all those years?
Well, it was the Afghan I'd never seen before, right? Because we went to Kabul, right? We were in the city. Whereas, I was out in the Dash and Wali, so I'm in Kabul now, city, cars everywhere. They had magnetic attached IEDs. Like, that wasn't a thing when I was out in the, on patrol in Afghan. And it was private security, it's a close protection. So, like, we were treated more like adults. We weren't micromanaged like the army. We're adults. We're expected to just know our drills, do our tasks, and call it a day. So it was good. It was good to see how the private world worked there, and it was good. It was good to just feel alive again. To be honest, because anyone that knows, when you leave, you lose that itch for being tooled up again, and working in a hostile, high threat environment. So. And, you got to work along with some really cool operators. Like, there was a lot of commandos and SASCATs on that gig as well. So you always wanted to make sure your drills are squared away. But then the boys were calling me from messaging me from Western Australia. And this is how I got into the emergency response side and the mine side of things. And they're like, man, we're in the Pilbara on working on a Chevron project. 6 months a year, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks on for 140 grand. I was like, 140 grand for 6 months? Because people would think, 140 grand for a year. It's like, it's 140 grand for 6 months work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, fuck, hold on. And I'm doing 2 months on, 1 month off rotation here. Yeah. And it's tax-free money. But I mean, that Chevron project out of all far was like, I'll get to it. So anyway, I did a year there. And I said, you know what, when I come back, I'm going to do my mines rescue course. I did my mines rescue course and a few other courses. And Leo, ex-6RAR, he said, oh, yep, well, send me your quals. As soon as you get your quals done, send it to you. And my mate Dell, who was working with me doing close protection, we did our courses, and he said, I'll get you jobs for us. So I pulled the pin in Afghan and went straight. I remember flying over there on Boxing Day 2016. And at the peak of this project, I think there was 9,000 people. Now, this camp was so big that they had 4 messes.
Far out.
No, correct, sorry. They had 2 mess halls. No, they had 3 actually at one point. But they had like 5 gyms because the camp was so big. Like you know where you're going to walk all the way from one side to one mess, They had a golf simulation center, tennis courts, a pool. They had full cleaning services, so on buggies.
Yeah.
So and the room was beautiful. Aircon, like your own ensuite. So they had these magnets that you just put on the front of your wall when you want your laundry. You just put your laundry at the front, put a magnet on that says laundry. You'd go to work, you'd come back, your laundry's washed and folded on your bed. You know what I mean? Like, so they make this because people struggle with FIFO being away from home. They make it like a resort, so you're not away from home.
Yeah,
And then the mess, Jesus Christ! Like, you had 20 desserts to choose from. And I remember I came back and you could order. I remember I ordered a steak from the chef. I didn't realise, like, if you don't want it in the food, you can order steak. I'm like, fuck, like steak or chicken. I remember there was this 18-year-old. He was like, dropping his shoulder. We're waiting for the steak, and he's looking at me, and he's kind of smirking. I was like, what's up? He goes, this fucking food, mate. What do you reckon about this food? I looked at my mate, typical 18-year-old, no life experience. He thinks,
Yep.
I'm like, mate, are you kidding? He's like, this food's like this. I'm talking, bro, this is good food. Like, they did a Christmas. I was there for Christmas time. Yeah. It was better than the Marriott. They had the chocolate fondue fountain. So yeah, man, I still there. I was probably there for about 2.5 years. I did heaps of courses. Like, I did my Cert 4 EMT and my Cert 4 healthcare. Cert 4 trainer assessor, public safety firefighting, and yes, and then my back gave me a lot of grief. Then I had a mattress set up permanently in my lounge room at home because my back would give way, and if it did, at least I'm in front of the TV for a couple of weeks, and then I was getting addicted to a lot of painkillers, to be honest.
Is that from your army days?
Yeah. And by then, the whole DVA thing hadn't started then yet. Well, not that I was aware of. This was 2016, 2017, 18, 19 I was working. Now, during that time, a guy that I worked with overseas, Jesse Bird, took his life.
Yeah,
you would have heard this.
I know his mum, Karen. Yeah,
there you go.
Yep.
So, now, in my opinion, and some people argue it, that's fine. I believe Jesse Bird's death is the turning point for DVA looking after. Is why we're out today, DVA looked after.
Yep.
You know, before he hung himself, he wrote a letter, strapped it to his chest, and he surrounded himself with the letters, asking DVA for help, and they knocked him back. Because when I was in DVA, you never asked about DVA. DVA were just, you never asked, you wouldn't dare ask them for help. You know? And then, you know, obviously there was that big inquiry, I think that's the right word, and I think Connie Bogler's his ex's name.
Yes.
Or partner's name at the time.
Yep.
And, you know, now, because I remember seeing one of my mates in 2018, and he goes, "Oh, DVA just looking after my back now." I laughed. I was like, "Yeah, good one." And he's like, "No, I'm serious. Like, since when did DVA look after people, you know?" He's like, so then I went through the DVA process, requested all my med docs, and I remember seeing medics in Africa for my back, and it was obviously because it was normal then. In the army, you got hurt, too bad, so sad.
Don't be a malingerer, keep going.
Yeah, or come back in a couple of weeks when you're better. So you didn't go write a claim or do anything. But because I had so much thing documented, I just requested my med docs, and I had a good doc, Kieran McCarthy from Go to Health up in Brizzy. He was actually on my trip.
Oh, right.
He was a doctor in the army.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then I had a good psych, and I actually, for my and I thought I was at the end of the process. Like, I thought, shit, everyone's already done it. So I did my 2018, and I didn't get one knocked back. I over-submitted, though. I had pictures in Afghan where I was hunched over the mortar tube because my back was fucked and stuff like that. But I didn't need to do that. But I'd rather over-submit than under-submit.
Yep.
And, I had all my claims accepted, which was massive. And I took time off work to get my back, because my back was giving me emergency response, rolling out of a hose in the fire truck.
Fiery. I know exactly what it's like.
There goes your back. You know?
100%.
So, yes, I did that. I took time off work. I worked in Chevron for about 2.5 years. Then I did the in-cap payment, which they gave me 8 months off work, and I just smashed heaps of physio rehab. I started getting Pilates. I started doing aerial yoga.
Yeah, right.
And that was great. And then I took that time off, and then I got back into emergency response again, but up in BMA up in Blackwater, and that's around about the time I met my partner, the mother of my child.
And with your back, are you lucky in a sense, mate? Because I know it's given you grief since all that happened. Are you glad you didn't go down the surgical path?
Yeah, so it's funny you say, because I've one thing they always ask, do you have sciatic pain? I'm like, no, I don't. Literally a couple of weeks ago, I twinged it. I twinged my back a bit, and now I get that sciatic pain. And I never knew what sciatic was. And it was just coming down here in the front of my shin. Oh, what the fuck's going on? And I'll get to that later, but I had the worst part was after my family got wrapped up. But yeah.
So, mate, this is the part that is
the worst,
and it's going to get deep, and it's going to get, and I'm probably going to get emotional too, right, because I know it's not even, mate, it hasn't even happened to me, but I think the story is just so fucked, and what you've had to go through, and still to be standing, mate. And I remember doing a podcast with my mate Zach Rolfe, and mate, I was crying, and it didn't even happen to me, it happened to him, and to the resilience that both you guys are showing, and it's other fathers as well, to be standing, man. Mate, talk me through this next part, and then we'll obviously get into, the Broken Fathers podcast as you discuss this next part and this next chapter.
Mate, so I met it was 2019, the NRL Magic round. Me and my mate went to watch the Roosters play. He wanted to go to the strip club, what's it called, Honeybees, whatever. And to be honest, I don't really like strip clubs because I know it's a fake environment, a lot of fake talk.
Yeah.
So I was down there. He was getting happy. I just sat down in the corner for 30 minutes. And as we left, this chick pulls me up. I hadn't seen her before, but, tall, blonde, blue eyes, bright lingerie, British accent. We exchanged instas, and that was it. I didn't hear from her, to be honest, for 6 months. I would here and there, but I went overseas on a holiday, it wasn't until Yogi flew back and he was spending time with me on holidays. She messaged me, and it wasn't until January 2020 we went on our first date. And, we kicked it off, and, she talked about England, I'll talk about here, and, give each other banter about each other's slang, and everything was just going, great, to be honest. And then, COVID kicked in, and, I was getting feelings for her, and at that point in time I just said, listen, I don't know if I can keep seeing you if you're going to be a stripper. I wasn't telling her to stop. I'm not a controlling person, but I just said, I was always that one guy that told my mates, don't date strippers. Here I am, so fuck, caught with my pants around me, cool. But, and, COVID happened, so everything shut down, and I just said, well, why don't you move in with me? And so she did, and she actually gained employment, though. She got a job at Robina. This was when everyone was losing jobs. She got a job at Robina working for Foxhour. I was working Fife up in BMA, up at Blackwater. So things were going well for us when everything was going bad for other people. And then, like 6 months later, she fell pregnant. And, at that point in time, I actually got my sperm checked, and it was very low. I think it was 2 million. I think anything above 14 is healthy, I think. So I took this Benivit stuff, and next thing you know, I was at 91 million or something, and she fell pregnant. Yeah. Right. We weren't planning to get pregnant then. I just wanted to get a test done. But, and, it just, everything felt like it was falling into place. Mum and Dad came down for Father's Day. We surprised them with a little baby shirt and say that you're going to be grandparents. And then, then like looking back now, were there flags? Yeah, but, like, I used to go jet skiing all the time when my mate Pete lives on the actual water, so he would message me when the water was still. Like, man, the water's still tight, take the jet skis out. And I was like, yep, me down the boat ramp. I remember one day, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm taking the jet ski out. She's like, why? Because it's sunny. She's like, yeah, but why? I'm like, because the water's still. She's like, but why? I'm thinking, where the fuck how am I supposed to answer this question? I'm like,
where are you going with this?
Where are you going? Yeah. What are you asking? She's like, Percy, that's what single people do. You need to get rid of that jet ski. I'm thinking, and I just drove off. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, what does that mean? And then, like, then when she was pregnant, she'd come back, and if I went to the gym yesterday for 45 minutes, but today I took 50 minutes, she's like, how come you took an extra 5 minutes today? But then I'm just thinking, bro, like, I'm just thinking, it's hormones, right? Pregnancy, whatever, And then she's like, do you go out like, she's from England, right? So she doesn't understand mining towns, and I guess so. She's like, like you like for people that don't understand, like 1 week on, 1 week off. You go up, you do your 12-hour shifts, whether it's day or night. You do 7 12-hour day shifts, then you fly back. 7 12-hour night shifts, fly back. Now she's questioning me, am I going to strip clubs in Blackwater? I'm thinking, have you seen? Do you want to just jump on Google Maps? Like, I get it because you don't understand how the whole mining works in mine town. There's a pub, a Woolies, and there's a Macca's, and that's it. And there's a mining camp, And then I don't want you working there anymore. You try and get a job somewhere else. I'm pregnant, so you should be home all the time now. Okay, sure. So I joined Australia Border Force recruitment. So I joined Australia Border Force, and the recruitment started October 2020. She was happy. Again, stuff like this still happening. I just think she's pregnant. It's the hormones, uncharted waters thing. And then there's just other stuff being questioned. Like, I remember her. Your audience won't be able to see, but I remember I came home one time. She opened the door, and she had her fingers like this.
Yeah, I can see. Yep.
Yeah, she's trying to measure. Oh, well, I said, what are you doing? I'm just measuring to see if this chair has been moved forward. I'm thinking, why would the chair be moved forward? She's like, you tell me. Have you had anyone in this car? I'm just like, oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Now, bear in mind, at that time, I lived in Coomera. The course was being run out at the airport there, at what they call the headquarters type thing. Now, I had the worst start time. It was like 7 o'clock start and 3:30 finish. So I'm getting in the worst traffic. I'm up at like 4 in the morning to try and train, come home, shower, sit in that traffic, finish at 3:30, come back. Like, I'm doing 15 hours of traffic Monday to Friday. I barely got time to scratch my bum. And I'm thinking, and then on the Saturday, I'd run around, do all the groceries, which I was happy to do because for me, I was the provider, I was looked after. Yep. And then Sunday was our chill time. And I'm thinking, not that I would cheat on you, not that I have, but if I wanted to, where would I have the time?
Yeah.
Seriously. Now, I don't know if this is stuff from her childhood trauma or whatever, trust issues, I don't know. But it started to become very draining. I got questioned. It's trauma that I hold on. Like, even my partner's not here now, but she'll ask me something and I start getting triggered because I used to get questioned all the time and I hadn't done anything. And it gets to the point where you feel like they've convinced you that you have done something, you know, like they're just always, and I feel like shit, maybe.
They put doubt in your mind, don't they?
Yeah, maybe I have done something wrong. Or maybe I should just go do something to you know what? I have
prove you right.
You know what? I have done it just to shut you up type thing. And so, you know, my daughter was born, baby T, and then, you know.
That's a changing moment for you.
Changing moment.
T into the world.
I've said it before in the past, you know, it's a moment I'll take to the grave. You know, even with all the pain my ex has put me through, even through today, like she doesn't give me updates, no phone, no nothing. But I'll always cherish that moment she gave birth because, you know, as a man, we don't carry the child, they do. But when you see all the pain she's going through for us and pushing out our daughter, man, like, I feel sorry for any father that has a partner that has a cesarean. That's none of my business how they have the baby. But fuck, to not be able to witness your baby,
come in naturally.
Oh man, fuck! It was fucking. I don't know how you can even explain it. Like and I've done DMT, I've done ayahuasca. Like that is just like the most. You just take it to the grave. I don't explain it.
Well, as I said to you off air, and sorry to interject here, but my brother's had 2 experiences of his daughter was born, and my niece. And then he's had a terrible situation at the start of the year where his second baby girl was stillborn. So he's and for him, the nightmare was, and I remember him saying this to me, he said that, and I want to get this out because it's attached to fathers, is that he remembers the first time he heard Matilda, my niece, cry, and the second time was that black, just silence. And mate, you know what it's like because you've just watched your beautiful baby come into this world, and most dads that say exactly, it's the best thing you'll ever experience is bringing a child into this world. And so sorry, mate, I just wanted to interject that.
Yeah, my thoughts are with him, man. Yeah, and then you know we went home, and you know I said to Mum, "Hey, can you come down? We're first time parenting, you know, uncharted waters." Parents are like, we'll come down and help out. Beautiful, because I'm still a recruit, right? So I can't take too many days off work because otherwise you just get you just get kicked off. You can't miss too many days. So like, and I take my hat off to my ex. Like she, you know, I always give respect when it's true. Like she did the breastfeeding. She said sleep in the spare room, like because you got to go to course. Like I won't bag her out or make shit up. But then at home, like I just remember. Well, first time parent, I'm like, hey, shouldn't you be putting the bottle this way or something? Like, you know, this is uncharted waters. So I know what I'm doing. And I was like, well, I was just, you know, asking the question. And then argues what happened. She's literally holding our newborn, like yelling at my mum witnessed this whole thing. Anyway, so we seek counselling. In my opinion, the counsellor I saw, terrible. She just sat there, listened, and said nothing. Like, shouldn't you be giving me tools? Or, you know, because we'd go to the counselling, my ex was so bothered up, she'd just go, bah, and I wouldn't get a chance to say anything. I just felt like this is a waste of time. And, like, I want your opinion. Like, as a counsellor, shouldn't you be saying, well, hold on, mate, you're in the wrong, or you're like this? It's just like, you're not really, well, I'm not telling you to take a side, but as a counsellor, shouldn't you be saying, hey, mate, actually, you're in the wrong. You shouldn't have done that. But you just sit there. You don't give any tools. It's a waste of time. So at one point, I just said to her, I can't do this. You know, I'm a big believer, you know, that I'll try. If I put my head down at the pillow at night, I want to make sure that we've tried everything. I don't want to shoulda, coulda, woulda. And, you know, I'm a big believer that, you know, I'd rather my daughter be under 2 happy roofs than 1 unhappy roof. Now, I tried to break it off and she begged. I've never had someone beg. Like, she got on her knees and begged. Like, when someone actually begs, it's
red flags, yeah.
But it changes. It changes your mindset. She begged, and I was like, oh, fuck, oh, righto. Well, we need to try something else. So I got a counsellor down from Sunshine Coast, and it cost me $6,000, and we went to the Intercontinental at Sanctuary Cove, and I was just pushing in the right direction, but we always found ourselves back at square one, and during my recruit time at Australia Border Force, because it was COVID, some days we'd have to work from home. You have to Skype. They'd put us in groups. I was Skyping. There was 4 or 5 of us, some girls, some guys. There was my partner at the time, my ex. She just didn't like this chick's voice, and she's like, "Who's that?" Like, it's just another recruit on the course. I don't like her. Why is she in your group? I'm just thinking, fuck. Ask the fucking instructors.
They've put us together.
Yeah, And then she just, nah. She was young. She was like 20, 21, this chick. And then she's like, nah. And then she thinks that I'm having an affair with her. And you know what I mean? Like, this chick's, because, man, I've come from a hands-on background, right? I'd come there and everyone's on the laptop, speed type, and I'm there like, man, I used to hold an M4. I'm just thinking, fuck, where's the fucking escape key,
Yeah.
And I can't keep up. So if I can't keep up, I'm not absorbing anything the instructor's saying.
That's right.
So everyone's writing the same notes. So I just said, listen, can you just give me your notes at the end of the day? So that way I can just focus on listening to what the instructors
and
say.
Just memorise
it. Yeah, sweet. But because I'm taking the notes, something dodgy's going on. I'm just like, for fuck's sake. Anyway. And, when we'd go to work, it's a government gig, so we weren't allowed to wear our work uniform, your pants and all that, but you had to put a cover top on to walk in the building. Now, this one morning, I just happened to grab a button-up shirt. It happened to be a nice button-up shirt. And I got questioned when I got home, why did you choose that shirt? Oh, because it's just a shirt that I grabbed. Yeah, but it's a button-up, it's a nice button-up shirt. Are you going out after work? I'm just like, fuck, man. And just got too much. I could not. We used to go to Westfield Cream all the time. I used to get anxiety because let's just say I'd seen a girl, we'll make her name up, Sarah. I went to primary school with her. Haven't seen her since primary school. If I saw her and she saw me,
of course you're going to say hello.
Yeah, I get anxiety because if she comes over and says hi, which she's entitled to, hey, Percy, how you been? Everything. As soon as she'd walk away, it would be, how do you know? Have you had sex? What's your Instagram? What's this? And bro, every day I was just anxious.
You're on eggshells.
Yeah, and I've done nothing wrong. But every day I'm waking up, what am I going to have to explain today? And it just, even now, just fucking drains me, like just even remembering it. So during that time, I with some of the money I'd got, I'd bought a couple of investment properties, and the market went through the roof. So I thought, I'm going to sell my investment properties, and I've got a great profit on it, and like 130 grand profit on it in 12 months, just after 12 months.
Yeah, right.
And it was a long settlement, so it was 6 weeks settlement, and I said I already booked the dinner in, and this was the lead up to my graduation. So we finally get through the 12 months of recruitment, Australia Border Force. Things at home up and down. Baby T, 6 months old at the time. I'm enjoying fatherhood, but just the relationship between me and my ex at the time is not good. Anyway, I remember it was a Monday night because it was the last week of my recruit course and graduation was on the Friday. And an argument breaks out at home. And what the counsellor told me was actually these 3 phases. If your ex argues with you, just listen to her. I said, no worries. So guess what happened when I just listened to her? She would say, are you just going to sit there and say nothing? I'm literally using this so-called tool that they think will Tommy do. Sorry, these were the tools, that she told me to do. And then the next phase was I'd just walk away. If she's arguing, because she was one of those people that she'd just follow you, just keep going, so I just walk away. So we get this argument that night, she's accusing me, she's coming to the graduation and, I can't wait to see that chick because, I know you've had an affair with her. I was like, oh my God. So I go sleep in the other bedroom and the next day, I just say, I don't think this is going to work, Well, then she would send me text messages. Me and your daughter are homeless. We've got nowhere to go. I'm thinking, what do you mean? You've got a house? No, I've packed up the car. But you know what I mean? Like, I haven't kicked you out. You have a house to live. Nah, we're homeless. Your daughter is homeless. You're 6 months. I'm thinking,
so the guilt trip.
I want an Airbnb. We get this Airbnb for a week. So she still comes to graduation. Thankful that she brought my daughter to graduation. Probably not the best thing either because she was just... Everyone felt her energy. She was deaf staring the chicks in the course, and I met her at a cafe afterwards where she went off at me. And then because I had the dinner booked for the real estate that night, we were still rocky, still talking, hadn't officially split, but I said, listen, this dinner's been booked to say thank you to the real estate for quite some time. what? Just come. We'll get a babysitter. We didn't want to tell mum and dad that we're arguing. We'll get a babysitter. You know what? Probably the worst thing we did, because that night was when it all went down. We come to dinner. She was bottled up. I hadn't told any of my mates that were there or the risk that what between us, because but they picked up on the energy. It was snapping, and she snapped at me at the table. I just tried to keep it cool. Didn't want kill the energy. We went off to another bar, Destina bar. This is where I got assaulted. So the restaurant called Iesco was my favourite restaurant. And we moved over to this bar called Destino Bar. And I bumped into my mate and his partner there by accident. And there was high chairs and low chairs. And, all the girls in cocktail dresses. So I said, well, you sit in the low chair with the girls because you're in a cocktail. I was in the high chair. She was just looking for something. She goes, what, you don't want to be seen sitting next to me? Is this it? I'm like, oh, here we go. She goes, come outside. So I come outside, and this is where the footage that I uploaded.
Yeah.
She's going off at me at this. I don't know if you've been in Sanctuary Code, but anyone that's been there, it's a one-way street that goes around. And she's just gobbing off at me. And I'm standing flat-footed. I'm like, no worries, I'm going to Uber. So I'm standing flat-footed. You can see my phone's glowing.
Oh, yeah, you can see it on the video. Yep.
And she's just going off, blah, 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 blah. And then she just, boom, dog shots me, right? And rattles me. And, I used to take her to Muay Thai training, so she knew how to throw a punch. And then you clearly see me. Hands up.
Yep.
Running away.
Yep. You see it on the footage.
I'm running away. She kicks it. We watched it in the lawyer's office. Punching me 7 times. At one point, jumps on my back and starts hitting me. She had this bag, but it was made out of hard plastic. See-through bag, whatever, some design of crap. Anyway, and then we go off that camera, and then we pop up again, and we're not crazy. Well, it's not crazy. It's believable. When she was going off at me for those 5 minutes, people walking past, no one gave a fuck, But then afterwards, when I walked off, she's screaming for help. Oh my God, help. People were coming over to her, asking if she's okay.
Yep.
I could not I can't believe it, actually.
Perception, mate.
Perception. Yeah, that's right. Big tat up, dude.
Yep.
I've been accused of being a bikie my whole fucking life. Oh, bikie. Oh, what? Because I might know 1 or 2 guys that I went to school with, played football with. We don't hang out. We don't have each other's number. Yep. But if I see her, the shop and say, hey, bro, how you been? How's your old boy?
That's right.
Hey, good on you, man.
That's right.
Well, that doesn't make me affiliated or linked or fucking...
Nope.
If I've been to a clubhouse, am I selling drugs?
Yeah.
Well, I say hi to someone and it's like, oh, yeah, it's like, fuck
perception's
off.
Everything, mate, isn't it? Yep.
And, there's some ex-army boys that go down and join clubs, mate. One of my mates did it in Sydney, he ended up taking his own life. He shot himself he shot his sergeant arm and shot himself in the head down in Pickleton?
Picton.
Picton,
I know.
Fiji,
I
Fiji,
know.
good mate. We all live together,
Yep, I know that because I come from Sydney and I remember when that happened.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So, fuck, I was going.
They all come to her. They all come to her.
I jump in an Uber, and but at that point in time, I knew we're done. We're done, and I knew I'm going to need footage because everyone believes women. So I filmed where I was, the date, the time, the shop I was at, because I knew I'm going to need the footage from that shop. Anyway, I jump in an Uber, and for those that haven't been in Century Cove, there's one road that just goes all the way in and out, but it's one way. So I drive past her. Now, this sounds silly, but at the point in time, she's the mother of my... Because everyone's like, well, why didn't you hit her? I was like, bro, this is the mother of my child. I was still in love with her. I'm not bouncing and some ladies attacking me and there's no emotional connection. Yeah, I'm doing my job. This is the mother of my child. Everyone thinks it's so easy. Well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well... There's a lot of moving parts here.
100%.
And then, so I jump in an Uber and I say, listen, get in here. We're going home. So she gets in. She's jumped in the front. Again, dumb idea. Didn't think it through. She starts going off at me in the Uber. So I pull out the phone. I said, I'm going to have to record this again. I'm going to have to. The Uber driver has enough. She gets out and she, lucky the light comes on. Because when she opens the door, the light comes on. I wouldn't have been able to capture it. Because the light came on, she assaults me through the rear window.
You see it, you see it on the footage you put up.
And I'm driving back and I'm thinking I'm gonna have to call the police. I call the police. I don't call the triple I call the hotline. Where I say, listen, this is what's happened. We're both going back to the house where my daughter is. I don't know how to solve this, but I need help with a solution. So I go back to my house. I'm literally still on the phone to her as I'm walking up to my house to open the door. The nanny locks the door on me. So my ex has called the nanny, saying, he's going to kidnap her, he's going to kill her, all the, whatever she said, jibber jabber. I'm on the phone to the police still. And she goes, listen, just stay there. I said, I've got CCTV. I'm going to go stand in my driveway and stand in front of that CCTV, and I'm not going to move. I call Coomera Water Security because we have security part of the body corp. I say, boys, can you come down here? I'm going to need a second set of eyes here. I'll explain to you when you get here. So they come down. So I'm putting all these things in place to cover my ass.
Smart.
Yep. She comes back, carrying on. She walks in the house. I didn't even engage with her. Cops come. They go inside. Now, I didn't realise she had said to the cops until the next year when we got the footage subpoena, the body camera footage. Now that when the cops went in, she said, he was going to drive her off a cliff and all this crap, right? Coomera Waters, what cliff? What the fuck what cliff are you talking about? Anyway, they've come out and gone, mate, do you want to grab some of your things at your house? I said, why the fuck would I want to grab things at my house? This is my house. My name. No one else's name. Oh, she doesn't want to leave. Well, too bad, so sad. She has an Airbnb. I'll stay here with my daughter. She can leave. He goes, mate, she's not going to leave. And without the pay, I said, well, I don't give a fuck, mate. Like, I'm the father. She can stay with me. The nanny can drive her. And he said, they were good. The cops were good. They weren't being arseholes. They said, mate, she's not going to... If you want to stay here, you can stay here, but she won't leave without taking your daughter. So the cops organised for the nanny to drive because she was drunk. Anyway, the next I go inside, I'm just thinking, fuck, like, I don't know how to explain to mum and dad, like, we're done. Next morning, I call locksmith. First thing I do, locksmith, because I was anxious, man. Like, this is a woman that would come in, kick open doors, and get the locks changed. Then I go see her at the Airbnb, and it was the most peaceful convo we had. We both apologised. We said, listen, it wasn't meant to be. I love you. She said, I love you. Let's do what's best for baby T. I'm thinking, fuck, thank you. Shit situation, but it's ending as
amicable as it can be. Yeah.
Then the next day, FaceTimes me. I was like blowing with the dog was in the house. I had to blow her. She's like, this is what she used to do when I go to the gym. FaceTime. Oh, I just want to ask you a few questions. Who's that in the background? This is the whole point of the FaceTime call. Who's there?
Manipulation.
Yeah,
again.
you know.
Yep.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. And next thing is, nah. Then she just making life hell again. No, you can't see. You can't do this. Can't do that. And I go see the lawyers, and the lawyer said, man, you're going to have to put a DV on her. And I was just like, fuck, like, I don't really want to go down that road, man. He's like, mate, she's just going to keep doing it. And you need to get in before her. And I was like, fuck. Anyway, so I put a DV on her. The Coomera police were awesome. The Coomera police officer actually happened to work for security at the body corp for Sanctuary Cove before he became a cop.
Yeah, right.
And he got it like that. And he was watching. Oh, he wouldn't let me watch it, but he watched it in front of me. He said, oh, mate, we're charging her. I was like, do you need anything else? I've got my phone. He goes, yep, give me that. What else do you need? Because I'll get no, we don't need nothing, mate. We're charging her. Now, at that point in time, I sorted out her 12 months rent. So I said, I know you're not from...
You didn't have to do.
Didn't have to do that.
Nope.
It cost me 40... The rental market... The line to get a rental property at that time was... The line was out the door. You're not working. You got no pay slips. How am I going to get you this place? It's fully furnished, Chevron Renaissance, 39 levels high. So I paid 12 months rent up front to secure... In her name. The lease was in her name. I was emailing off my Australia Border Force email. I'll make sure I left the paper trail. 42.5 grand cost me. So I pay for it. Coomera police give the DVO to Service Police Station to hand to her. Now, it obviously took some time for them to serve her, but during that time, I had signed and she moved in. Now, obviously, she had moved in, she got served. She's cut comms. That's it, cut comms. She got told you have to come to court in 10 days. Now, what she done was, in that 10-day period, she rushed around. She went to the DV registry offices at the courthouse, which I didn't realise existed. Only women are allowed in there, bear in mind. How does that make sense? Apparently DV doesn't exist against men. And she said her life was in danger and my daughter's life was in danger, and got rushed through that day. Didn't even have a date booked in court. So they rushed her through that day. This is a tactic. And got Judge Julie, I'll say her name. She stamped off a TPO on me. So technically, even though she'd been served and had to go to court in 10 days' time, she actually beat me because she actually got to court and got one stamped off on me before they stand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but there's no violence. You haven't.
So this is why I won, because one, I wasn't given procedural fairness. No one notified me. This is why I won the appeal, and they actually wrote a decision on my case, which now sets a precedent. You can Google my case. And now other law firms are using my case, which is great, you know. But that doesn't change the fact that, well, there's a TP on you, your daughter's name's on, you can't see your daughter, you can't do this, you got to tell work and all this stuff. And yeah, I was doing Muay Thai in Southport, and the cops called me and say, "Oh mate, we're here to serve you with something." I said, "I'll check the CCTV." They were there. I said, "Serve me of what?" I said, "We can't tell you." I said,
"Okay."
Yeah. So I called my lawyers, like, "Mate, they must be trying to serve a DVO." So this was a Saturday. So I've got gun licenses, gun safes, weapons. I said, "No worries." So I said to my lawyer, "Regardless, it sounds like they're going to serve you." I said, "Right." I called the cops. I said, "I'm busy. I'll come see you on Monday, lunchtime." Monday morning, drove straight out to gun store, sold my I had a CZ Shadow 2 black and blue handgun. Cheap, sold for like $1,000 because I need to go on, because either you sell it or they take it. I go to the police station, they serve me. I was like, this is absolute bullshit. The cops don't care about the explanation because there's nothing they can do anyway. You could sit there for hours. They're not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Now they come to my house, and I just said, "The gun's gone. Here's the receipt." They took my gun licenses. This is where it all starts. So now, coming to Christmas, family fly up to meet baby T for the first time. No one knows where she is. So at that, what I didn't realise was I bought a baby package, everything to get sent to that house, her resident. Got bounced back. I never knew why until next year we went to court. Once she got the TPO signed off on me, she went to the real estate agent to legally break the lease. He transferred $35,000, which I've got all on receipts. Out of that $42,500 I paid, he transferred $35,000 back to her savings account, and then she had to play the game, went to a women's refuge, right? So the DV starts, this is where it starts. You go there, you get a mention, and then we filed for family court because, you had to. I wasn't seeing my daughter, didn't know where she was. And this is where it all just unravels, and then this is court journey, man. This is where it all started happening. Like, I was questioning the cops. Why haven't you charged her yet? I was rocking up to Service Police Station. They gave me some bullshit reason. Ryan McNamara, I'll say his name. He said, "Oh, well, we brought her in for questioning, but we showed her the footage, and she said that you started around the corner." And I said, "Mate, you what? You showed her the footage first?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Mate, I'm no fucking police officer, but I'm pretty sure that's poor policing because you would have asked for her story first and then seen if it collaborates with the footage." And then what do you mean? So you're taking her word? The footage clearly shows. What do you mean around the corner? Like, we went around the corner. And this is where I just question everything, man. Like, the policing. Like, I've had police message me saying that they have quotas to meet for DV. I've had police message me saying they've left the force because they're sick of dealing with the fake DV, but they still have to go ahead with it. And then the family court starts. This is where my first day in court, I thought, "Yep, this is it. I'm going to get my daughter." It's like, "No, mate, this is just a mention." I'm like, what the fuck's a mention? Nothing is happening anytime soon. I didn't see my daughter it took me, so you go to court and the judge is like, "Oh, there's a TPO on him, so you have to see your daughter in supervision contact center." I'm like, "Excuse me? I have to see my daughter where?" Like, in a contact center where they supervise. He's like, "For why?" Because of all these allegations. I'm like, "Mate, this is, allegations, mate. Like, none of it's true."
You're not a criminal.
I'm not a criminal, right? And then, sure enough, I faced everything, mate. So during this time, there's so much to talk about, but, apparently I'm a bikie, I'm a rapist, I'm a pedophile, I'm a drug dealer, I'm an extortionist. Like most fights, these are all the allegations gets thrown out.
You're probably a standover man.
Man, right? Weapons dealer, like all this stuff. Anyway, so the judge says you can see your daughter every Sunday for 1 hour. And bear in mind, biological advantages, everything's based around the mum. I can't breastfeed every 2 hours. I can't have appointments on this day. And the judge, okay, well, work around what the mum need. Now, before I filed for family court, I remember my lawyer said, listen, I don't expect you to understand this, but you're not going to get overnight. Before we file this paperwork, there's no turning back. I'm going to say, mate, I haven't done anything wrong. He goes, mate, I don't expect you to understand this. I know you're a veteran, work straight border force, blah, 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 but because you don't squat the P, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. Now, I'm in a different state of mind. I'm like, whatever, mate. Like, I've done nothing wrong. Sure enough, he was right. As soon as we file family paperwork, allegations fly. So I remember the first 6 weeks, I get to see my daughter for 1 hour on a Sunday. 2 of those visits she cancelled. She wouldn't even let my parents see their granddaughter, so I had to get the judge to put their name on the court order. Man, I drove from Coomera to Nerang. I cried the whole way. I hadn't seen my daughter. She was 6 months alone. I hadn't seen her for nearly 5 months. I was crying. All the emotions would come out. Crying to Nerang, to the Supervision Contact Centre. And I just had my first panic attack where it's so shit, bro. Like, they bring your daughter in and they say you've got it now. Like, you've hired out a bit of equipment. You got 5 minutes to go. Like, yeah, it's fucking putrid, man. And she was calling at the time, and I normally get emotional at this. So I've talked about it a few times. I try and just block it out, but it's just,
mate. If you need to,
nah,
mate,
man. It's just I can't express out of my whole journey. That family court, my whole family court journey, the Supervision Contact Centre is what broke me. I understand they have them for a reason, but
yeah, for people that are criminals and
pose a threat, right?
Yeah, not someone that just cares about his daughter and just wants access to his daughter.
But this is the thing: people learn tactics on all the system. Oh, if I just allege that he's XYZ, he's going to have to go there, and that's it. People learn the system, and they think, so. And even the contact centre knew how much of a pain. They could see the truth. They could see I wasn't a threat. They could see who the problem was.
Yeah.
But they don't have a say. They're just there to write notes, And
I just want to highlight something quickly. And I'll just pause for a minute because what I'm about to say, mate, to see your own daughter, you would have felt like it's degrading.
It was degrading, yeah.
That, people are taking notes. Percy picks up his daughter, and it's like, what, like, I'm not a criminal. Like, what?
Watching, when you have to change a nappy, they have to come and watch me. Like, just, man, like, and my dad's 30-year correction officer. Now he has to fucking be supervised. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a joke. This is all from, a stripper, not even a citizen, fabricate allegations. I'll just, and then obviously, I'll try not to, we'll get stuck in too long. You start going down the family court. Oh, the first thing they do is subpoena your military records. Oh, multiple deployments. Oh, he's seen combat. He has PTSD. He can't be trusted around kids. He poses a threat. I'm thinking, what? Oh, then because I said I had a gambling addiction. Oh, a gambling addiction? Like, okay, I had a gambling addiction in 2012. We're now in 2022 or something? 10 years later.
10 years later.
What the fuck does that have to do with me, with my daughter?
Nothing.
And
you'd seen counselling and worked on that.
But they'll go fine tooth comb and just pick something and try and narrow it down. That's why I don't wear my gongs anymore. I haven't worn my medals for 3 years because you use my service against me. I thought subpoenas, you just search their name and you got whatever you want. It doesn't work like that. We need to at least know her GP's name or her because she's from England. She refused to give it the whole time. And did anything ever happen? So yeah, the whole, then I'll finally get out of the Supervision Contact Centre. They ask for the notes, and you got to have to do all these hair follicle tests. How funny is this? The hair follicle test is where I went is the next street over.
Oh, no way!
It's in the house. I no duff. So my daughter's life.
Yeah.
The next street over, you drive down. It's in someone's garage. This is a approved clinic testing lab that the courts use, and it was in someone's garage.
Oh, get stuff.
Yeah. And then I passed the hair follicle test. So what does she say? Oh, he imports shampoo from Jamaica that fucking detoxes your hair. Oh, you have to sit in court and listen to this shit. Like, she had an excuse. As dumb as the excuses were, she had an excuse for everything. And then it's just so taxing, bro. Like the affidavits back and forth, and Like, you're supposed to give a response to affidavit, like, should do this 400-point affidavit, and my lawyer like, okay, you got to respond to this. I'm like, didn't happen. Like, oh, you got to elaborate more. Like, how am I supposed to elaborate on something that clearly did not happen?
Yeah, it's
like,
impossible.
for me to elaborate, I have to make up stuff.
Yeah, it's
like,
impossible.
I wasn't here in this location on that day. So how am I supposed to? What more can I say? Oh, so here you go. Go through bank statements. Oh, I was in Coomera at this time because I purchased this. Time and energy. So she just makes up all this bullshit, and it leaves me zapped to try and explain it all. You know. You know, then, you got to do these courses. You got to do the Triple P Parenting Positive fucking whatever courses. Then you got to do the Circle of Security course. Then they try and do, you have to do this men's behavioural program course. Bear in mind, there's no such thing as a women's behavioural program course. They try and get you to do this course because they want you, it's trying to get you to admit, it's like an admission of guilt. To say, well, you've done the course, so you must have a problem. And so I did the course, just the fact that if this is just something that's going to stop me from seeing my daughter, I'll do the course. But my lawyer said he'll do the course, but by no means is this an admission of any DV, etc. Anyway, we go to DV, trial gets adjourned. I had 5. You go to this pre-readiness trial, and the whole point of a pre-readiness trial is to make sure everyone's squared away. You got everything. Okay, I will now give you a trial date. We get the trial, and now her legal team's like, we want to subpoena more stuff. Well, right there and then, that judge just said, too bad, too sad, you've had your time. But the judge goes, okay. So I've taken time off work. I've had 5 people take time off work to come down and be cross-examined. It's just a fuck fight, man. So, again, gets adjourned. We finally get to the next trial. It goes for 2 days. She gets cross-examined for 5 hours. She's taken 3 breaks. I get cross-examined for 2 hours. I didn't take 1 break because I didn't need to remember my lies. I just tell them the truth.
Yep.
I had a judge and female judge, and I thought, fuck, here we go. But she restored my faith in humanity because, one, she spoke respectfully to me. When she asked me a question, I could answer it back, not like these family court judges. And she took about a month to write a decision, but she saw it for what it was and threw it out, and awarded me costs. So you don't get costs for the whole thing. It was like from when I won the appeal to when, I don't know how it works, but I only got 15 grand back. But still, they threw the DVO out, and I was awarded costs. Which is apparently it's pretty rare to to win costs. Now, so that's done. So now we're focused back on family court, facing more allegations. I'm out of Supervision Contact Centre, but I'm still doing the handover at Supervision Contact Centre. And how are we going for time?
Yeah, we're still good, all good.
And so I'll just do the handover at Contact Centre. She wants it moved to being lead because it's halfway. Fair enough, I don't like that Contact Centre, got the way they treated me. And I actually had a handover one time. My ex brought my daughter to the handover, and the supervisor is just supposed to hand me my daughter. I'll wait 15 minutes and leave. We just do the handover thing. She went to change my daughter's nappy. I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm changing your daughter's nappy." I said, "I can do that." She goes, "Oh, no, your ex wants me to do it." I said, "I don't care what my ex wants you to do. She doesn't give orders. Court order just states, hand happens here." She refuses to let me change it. I call my lawyer on loudspeaker. My lawyer's going, hand his daughter over immediately. I call the manager of that thing. Oh, sorry, there's a miscommunication. No, your staff should be aware of all court orders thing.
100%.
You're taking orders off my ex because she's a narcissistic, manipulating. Anyway, so bear in mind, as we go along, I'm asking the judge for more time. Can I get an extra? Can I get an extra? Yep, sweet. By then, I worked so hard. We're at the 3-year mark. I get to 5 hours every second Saturday and Sunday. Not overnight. I had to go from 2 hours to 3 hours to 4, burning through money. And I said to my parents, I said, "Listen, I've burned through too much money. We'll just have to, instead of fighting for more time, we'll just have to accept 5 hours every second Saturday and Sunday until we go to trial." Now, this is where I get called up on the cops. Southport Police Station, "Can you come down? We need to serve you something." I was like, this must be old stuff.
Yeah, what for now?
This must be old stuff. Nah, mate. So bear in mind, now my state of mind, I've got, I was getting calls from cops about breaches of I ran someone off the road and all this stuff. So I've got cameras in my car. Yep. I go to the police station. I have a full GoPro strapped to my chest. My lawyer comes with me. Man, I'm in this state of mind now where everything's being filmed because I'm being accused of everything.
Yeah.
So I go in, and he goes, "Mate, did you call so my daughter is now at a childcare centre, and my ex works there as an employee. I found that out through legal correspondence. Oh, that's great, because my child support goes down. I called her because my daughter's high-level autistic, speech delay, sensory processing disorder. I called the kindergarten to speak to the manager. Hi, I'm baby T's father. Can I get an update on her progress, behaviour? Yeah, sweet, no. Listen, just to update you. I have a DVR on my ex. I found out that she works there. Doesn't bother me. I just want to inform you of that because I don't want you to tell them that I've called. I don't want her to have my number, stuff. First thing she does, goes and tells my ex. My ex tells the police that I called there with intent to tell them that I was DV to try and get her fired. And that's a form of DV. So here we go. The 18 months process to get my name cleared. You know, bear in mind, I had to tell ABF. You know, my name, Wimbash, this, Wimbash. Because I'm guilty of, too, in the past. You know, if I heard a guy at a DVO, and I was like, oh, it must be Wimbash. And now I sit back, I'm like, nah, mate, there's always two sides to the story, you know. And, 70 grand, and she just put another one on me a couple of months later. You know, because family court got adjourned, so she's twiddling her thumbs. I've got more time to fabricate stuff. Now I'm getting a call from I get an email from Child Protection. I freak out. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, there's a size of a bruise on your daughter's hip. I email my lawyer straight up, bro. Well, I'm freaking out. What the fuck's going on here? He calls him. Child Protection. Squash it. Okay, we're happy with that. We're just obliged to follow through. There was a photo of a faint 5-cent piece, a bruise of a faint 5-cent piece. So obviously she's bouncing around from organisation to organisation. Now she goes to child safety. I'm supposed to pick up my daughter on a Saturday, and they call me Friday. I went up, put a temporary assessment order on. I said, what for? About the same thing. I said, listen, I've heard all before, child protection of thing. Well, we're child safety. We want to address it. Fine, do whatever you want. I'm going to get my daughter tomorrow. They went to an after-hours court. I didn't know this was a thing. There's some after-hours court thing. Friday night. They put a temporary assessment order on me. I wanted to get my daughter on a Saturday. No, couldn't do it for a week. So I have to sit with child safety in Labrador with my lawyer. They pull out this Bible of allegations. She starts reading some from the DV trial. I said, stop. This has been sat in front of a judge. I don't want to hear it. It's been...
We've dealt with this.
We've dealt with it.
Yeah.
I will talk about the new ones. Tell me the new ones. Oh, so what she'd been doing is, after handover, she'd been taking my daughter to Logan Hospital and demanding that they do an examination on my daughter. Now, I've asked nurses about what the process would be, and I say, what's the process? They say, well, listen, there would be signs. She would be withdrawn. There's signs that if they haven't done an examination on it, it's because they've done a visual assessment and go, we don't believe that there's thing. But my lawyer said, if you throw mud at something long enough, eventually something will stick. So you can imagine all these visits, even though there's nothing happening, it's getting recorded. It's getting recorded.
There's
trying to leave a paper trail or something, you know? And the thing about, if you go to the police officer and say, oh, Adam pushed me or hurt me, the police officer say, Mr. Purcell alleges that Adam pushed him. Whereas if you go to a doctor or hospital, they'll just say, Adam pushed Percy, or Adam, you know? They're not writing it down worthily, so which can play a big part. So, and this is where she refuses to bring my... So I go to child safety, want to extend it for a month. And me and my legal team, we put our submissions and go, no. The day of court, guess what? Child safety pulled the application. All right. So child protection, I've squashed it. Child safety, no longer have concerns. Guess what? She still refuses to bring my daughter down. Breach. Every fortnight, I'm going to say breaching. Now, this was a long 3-4 months. We finally get a court date because my lawyer just said, we'll just have to wait for the next court date. We can file interim, but it's going to cost you money. Like, just wait for the next one. Sweet. I go in there, head held high, staunch as. She's been breaching. Now, the judge has ripped her in the past for breaching court orders. I've gone in there and I've gone, right, child protection has squashed this, child safety has squashed this, and you've breached court order for 3 months. I want all the time reinstated. And the judge just goes, oh, was there a court order? Was there an investigation conducted? And my legal team says, well, yeah, there was, but we've submitted all our affidavit. You should have read it by now. I don't have time to read it today. So in the meantime, you can go back to... So this is where I broke. I'm at the 3-year mark, spent every money to get to 5 hours every second Saturday and Sunday. Now, he's put me back on 1 hour, supervised, and I walked out. I've done it. I've done my job. You should do your job. And yeah, I just broke. And me and my mum went to McDonald's, Beanley McDonald's, and we just looked at each other and said, I can't do this. It just, all that hard work we'd done, we're back to square one because the judge was too lazy. So anyway, man, so long story short, I sat down with the family. I was, spent over $300,000. I was now on borrowed money, and I had to assess how my life, how it was affecting me mentally, physically, financially, emotionally. And I just said, man, like, if I keep fighting, I don't know if I'm going to make it through. I make the biggest decision of my life, either throw the towel in and live to see another day, or keep fighting and probably end up taking my own life. And the allegations I was facing, like putrid allegations, like I'm not just. Most guys face the whole DV thing. Man, this was child safety, child protection. Like just.
And I'm nearly crying because you're a decorated soldier that has served our nation, risked your life, and you're getting treated as if you are lower than, you're the lowest person in the world, and you've done nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And then, I called her and I just said, you in? I said, I'm broken. I said, I'll give you everything you wanted. I'll let you relocate back to England. I'll give you full parental rights. I'll lift the PACE alert off our daughter's passport. So I got a PACE alert on the passport. It's flagged. Yep. And I'll drop the DV on you. But you need to sign a financial bonding agreement in exchange. And she in her mind she'd won. Now she really wants to take the knife out and piss on it and stick it back in. She goes, nah, I want first class tickets, $50,000 cash, and a car bought for me back in England. And I threw the phone. I was getting ready to go to work night shift, and my back just gave way. I was standing up because those 3 years of stress and emotions, and when your back gives way, they say it's because you feel unsupported. I was on the ground for 4 hours. The ambulance had to come get me. My dog sat next to me all the time. And I just knew, like, she has to go. Like, I have to cut the head off the snake. But unfortunately, it means sacrificing my daughter too, because my mental health, my physical health, it just took a toll. And yeah, and then so they go. I signed. I didn't. The one day I didn't go to court was the day I broke. I went to court. She signs her part in front of her legal team to say that won't pay child support, all that stuff, binding agreement. And that was that. And then I submitted the binding agreement to child support. Child support wait for her to leave the country, and then they tell me we don't accept your binding agreement. I said, well, are you going to bring my daughter and ex-partner back? No. So now she's in England. So there's a reason she's blocked me on comms, because she's laughing. So she's got everything she wanted, and the one thing I wanted has backfired, and now she's getting plenty of child support off me. And now she's kicking back. So yeah, I packed up, man, and I was a mate of mine, Yogi, who's unfortunately passed. He was leaving Dubai to come back to work on this gig down in Melbourne. He said, I've got this gig moving with me, bring your dog, we'll start fresh. And I really wasn't interested, but I thought, whatever, might be the fresh start. And I was that over it. I left my house fully furnished. I just told everyone, grab what you want. I packed up the car for my dog and I just left. And then he died, unfortunately, before I got down there. He died of a blood clot in Dubai, and then that added on top. And I went to Melbourne for what I thought was a fresh start, and then, I reached out to Matty Morris, and I said, look, can I come on and tell my story? Because I want to talk about Family Court, because I trust you and edit it. I'll say it for what it is. And he said, yeah. And then said, why don't you just start one on your own about Family Court? I said, yeah, I will. So that's how I started to come on the Broken Fathers podcast. So,
and mate, I think how you've shown no emotion, like, it's been hard, I can see. Like, I was nearly crying. Like, I'm not even a father. Like, I just see how fucked it is. And it's... Mate, let's quickly touch on Broken Fathers podcast. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to get you back on to finish off.
Because I want to about 15 minutes.
I want to talk about the family law court and your thoughts around how broken the system is, and because your podcast, mate, it has been like the people you've got on, and to talk about how fucking broken it is, and the the bullshit with the you know, that it's like a running tap for lawyers, and that's what it is. But mate, Broken Fathers podcast, you were broken, and you said it got dark. You lost Yogi, and you'd fought and fought and fought. How has Broken Fathers podcast given you purpose again?
Yeah, well, when my daughter left, I knew I needed to find purpose. You know, being a gambling addict and stuff in the past, I just knew I'm going to need to find purpose somehow. Before I went to Melbourne, I was actually going to leave the country. I was never coming back. But yeah, I thought I need to find purpose. What's that purpose going to be? Easier said than done, right? You can give yourself a goal, like I can do a fight night next year, but you know, that's only going to last you so long.
Yeah, that purpose isn't going to.
So I thought, you know, I need to find purpose. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do podcasts, and I just dialed in. As soon as I clicked I was going to do it, I was down in Melbourne working. I came up here for a couple of days. My mate had a warehouse. All right, boom. Then my mate was training an editor. He took me to the shop, bought all the equipment, boom, and we just dialed in. And then I just put up a post saying I'm next year I'm going to do this podcast, and just people just started sharing it, and people were reaching out to me. I was getting a brief rundown of their story. And I started I think I came up, I did 10 days straight and just did like 9 people and just started releasing them, and got a videographer in to give a bit of background on my story. Obviously, well, there's not enough hours in a day to talk about my family court journey, so I would have left a lot of stuff out. But yeah, and the videographer did really well, and that got passed around. And yeah, I told my story. Matty came down, I told my story, and you know, for me to set the bar, to set the standard, I need to tell my story and, you know, be vulnerable to let everyone know I wasn't stuffing around. And yeah, and then that's how it came thing. And now it's just taken off, man. Like, and I enjoy the podcast. I am pretty taxed right now. I enjoy the podcast in itself. Like, someone will come on and tell a story, but it's the days in between. Like, and you know, I'm not doing a podcast on NRL, so it's not like people are sending me a text going, "Oh, remember when you scored that try?" Like they're texting me an essay full of stuff, and it's traumatic. And a lot of people, I have to remind them that, you know, I'm not a counsellor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police officer. Like, I'm just do a podcast, man. Like
I know what.
Yeah, you know?
I know exactly what it's like, man.
I feel obliged to get back to everyone, but man, the phone just blows up. And but it's good, man, because, you know, I think the benefit now is, like, you know, when our parents are around, you know, when my partner's father was trying to write her letters, they weren't getting letters. And if I write a letter, is my daughter going to get it? Probably not. Whereas social media, I can leave all these messages, time and date, saying that's something that my ex can't control.
That's right.
That thing, you know, so yeah, man, it's given me drives, given me purpose, and I know she'll see all these messages one day when she's older. She turns 5 in April, but, you know, I think when she gets a little bit older, she'll be able to find me on the internet and see all my stories that I've done for her and all the evidence and everything that I've left for her.
And it'll show, mate. She'll remember. She will know how hard her dad fought to be in her life.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and you don't forget things, mate. Childhood, you know, they all talk about, you know, that childhood trauma and all that sort of stuff, but you never forget.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so there is hope. There's, you know, like, mate, I can't wait to see one day when baby T, well, not so baby anymore, but it's just baby T's back in your arms, mate. I can't wait for that day. It's you know, and that's why I wanted to get you on, mate, because, you know, I wanted to talk about your military history, but then the resilience that you've shown to keep fighting. But then, as you said, that the hardest decision you've ever made in your life is to sign away your right as a father to let her go because you just couldn't keep fighting anymore. And that's hard.
It is, man. Yeah, biggest sacrifice of my life. You know, like what the judge had to say about it, I've got it tattooed on my hand. It's probably a bit too hard to read sometimes, but, you know, I thought serving my country was sacrifice, but, you know, little did I know what was waiting for me around the corner. Some people that don't know the context will just rock up and go, "Oh, this guy, what? He let his daughter go. Oh, he's not a fighter." They don't know the context of the battle, the allegations, the money burning. Like I've never had something like 8 months in that on that hill in Afghan with no toilets, I'd do that 10 times over, then go through that family corner. I had Jeff. It was a bank robber. He came on, but anyway, he did 20 years in prison. He goes, mate, I'll do 20 years in prison again before the 7-year battle with child support again in court. You know, so
goes to show, man. And we'll talk now. Like, I know we've got to, you know, you've got to get on to work, and I've got some other stuff as well. And we'll talk about, you know, mate, we'll talk about family law court in a minute, but how has it affected your relationship moving forward with your partner, your current partner?
I think it's taken a toll on her, to be honest, because you know, I've got a lot of trauma from my ex, you know, and just, you know, being interrogated, questioned all the time, you know. So I've got like one step. She has helped me a lot this year. I feel like I've got one step stuck in the past and one step in the future, which is great, but I can't get my foot out of that past. You know, she took me to ayahuasca for the first time, which I highly recommend anyone to do.
So what's that, mate, for people who aren't aware of it?
So ayahuasca is, like, I'll probably explain this wrong. So, you know, like it's plant medicine. Yep. It's like a vine, like the DMT mixed with a root, and you drink it. Yep. Yeah, and it's like anyone who's done it knows. I don't know how you're supposed to explain this because it takes you to another world. But I saw my daughter, so I spoke to my daughter. Yeah, so you set your intentions before you go in, and there's a lot of intentions I set. You know, I wanted to be a better partner, but my focus was so much on my daughter that when I went under, I was speaking to her through energy, and she was smiling. She was saying how proud she was of me, but my partner had a bad time. I think all my trauma trying to travel through her, and I think what she didn't realise, like my mate Bendel was in the tent with me, and you know, he got in contact with Wilson in ambush, and he actually killed a few Taliban dudes. And when he carried the dead bodies, he threw it on the back of an Aslav that was waiting, and Jeff, who was driving it, Jeff was actually in the tent too. So all these guys that are doing awesome. There's a lot of negative energy there was about to be released. So and there's also the 5-MeO DMT, like the cane toad poison that you smoke, like the psychedelic. I tried that, which I highly recommend. But yeah, you know, my poor partner, sorry, my dog's jumping up on Adam's lap. Hello,
beautiful.
Yeah, so it's you know, it's taking a toll on her too. You know, no, look at me. It's taking a toll on her because you know, obviously I have a lot of baggage, you know, from there. And trust issues, you know, like what if this happens again type thing, you know. So but you know, I see the relationship she has with her kids and her ex-2 partners, like they never went to court, never stopped them from seeing the kids, never
how it should have been.
Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, man, in regards to the podcast, you know, I'm quite happy. You know, it's been a learning curve. I've had 3 law firms send me cease to desist emails. I've had an episode court ordered because he was still going through family court, which I knew, he told me. So obviously you got to remember, for every father that follows me, I've got a crazy ex-mother following me too. So as soon as I released the cover photo saying I was about to drop this episode, she filed an urgent application to get the episode court ordered.
Wow.
And so I've been told that all the law firms and even the courts are well aware of me. But it's funny because I've had people with friends saying, who are friends with, you know, ICLs, independent children's lawyers, and lawyers, bros, even a judge, say, yeah, they watch every episode, and you know, but what does that tell? Like they actually support it. But if you're a judge and you're supporting the Broken Father podcast, then
shows how broken the system is.
Well, exactly, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so all the retired family court judges come out and will say how broken the system is, but they won't say why they're practicing because, you know, they're probably on a good wicket. So.
Yeah. And that's, mate, it segues into, you know, in your opinion, mate, like we know, like and I highlight and I say to every listener that listens to this podcast, go and listen to your podcast because you go into in depth. Like we're just touching the surface, but go and listen to the Broken Fathers podcast because you'll understand how broken that system is. And you know, I didn't even know it existed until I started listening, and all the stories. And mate, we know it's broken, but how can the system be changed to be fairer towards fathers, in your opinion?
This is the thing, right? Everyone knows it's broken. Senators, politicians, retired family court judges, law firms. But if everyone thinks it's so broken, why hasn't it been touched? You know, what if it's so commonly known that it's so broken and one-sided? Why is no one touching it? Is it because the the Family Act was created in 1975? And you know, it's, I don't know. It sounds like a conspiracy. I think it's a big money-making machine. And, you know, for your viewers at home, I do apologise because there's so much to talk about family court, like independent children lawyers, how they work, their roles and responsibilities, family report writers. Like, I have skimmed through a lot. Like, there's no way I'm going to tell a three-year court journey.
100%, yeah.
So it might sound a bit all over the place, and what's involved. But I think the only way to change it is to get someone in power as Prime Minister to change it, you know, the right person. Albanese was the one that got rid of, you know, John Howard brought in shared parental responsibility, parental responsibility, and then I think Julie Gillard had a go at getting rid of it, but then it was either Julie Gillard or Albanese got rid of it, you know. And
well, we know how. I'll say my thoughts on him, mate.
He's
a weak gutter, right. You know, just spineless, mate.
That's right,
absolute spineless.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment having him run our country, and I'll say that.
No, I'll say I tag him in all my posts. I'm surprised I don't have a knock on my door soon.
Well, mate, I mean, you know, they know where we are, so you know look, mate, I hope changes do happen, and I've got a few final questions, mate, before we wrap up, and mate, it's just. Mate, you nearly had me in tears. And I'm not even a dad, and it just breaks me, mate, to see you. And I know, mate, you do good for so many people. To see you, and it's not just you, mate. These are thousands. There's hundreds of thousands of dads that go through this, and it's just to be, you know, to have that right stripped away of, you know, when you've done nothing wrong. It's just that an ex is just that spiteful, you know, narcissistic psychopath. It's just, mate, it breaks my heart. Yeah, it really does. And, mate, the final questions that I have is, knowing what you know now, mate, and everything that you've been through, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self, and would he listen?
Fuck, would he listen? Probably not at 18. Oh, I think the biggest investment in life is who you choose to have a kid with. You know, some people don't like my brother; he doesn't want kids. Fair enough, each their own. But I think which sounds common sense, right? But you know, I think at that point in time, we just think, "Oh, I'm in love. This is the right. She's the one." But I think the biggest investment in life is who you choose to have a child with, because I lost all my assets to that, but that's not what I'm pissed off about. It's you know, she tried to take it hard, but it's just not having access to your child, you know. And when the government has all these rules in place that favour the mother, you know, and you know the way the DV system works, it's just so I think the biggest investment in life is, you know, who you choose to do life with, like. And I think the old school ways where, like, I had a mate, I think they got married after 10 years. You know, they wanted to be together. I'm sure that not everyone's going to last 10 years, but I think that's the right way to do it. Try and be with someone as long as you can before you really know who they are. And, you know, people are going to be watching this going, well, you dickhead, you go for a stripper. Yeah, of course, I'll take accountability for that. I made my own bed. Not once did I used to be that guy. What are you doing with a stripper? And here I was caught with my ankles, pants around my ankles. So I made my own bed. I got to sleep in it. But yeah, the biggest investment is life. I think for me, 18-year-olds, who you choose to have a child with.
Great advice to any young player out there, mate, because there's plenty that have been, or that, you know, I mean, it's New Year's Eve tonight, mate.
Yeah, think with your brain, not your penis.
Yeah, that's right. Mate, that's exactly right. And great advice. And, mate, what advice would you give to any young person who is thinking of, you know, that you've seen it on the other end now, of joining the Defence Force or being a first responder? What advice would you give to them?
Man, so I got my mate Paul Warren on about this, and we're a bit different because I've been through this. And so I tell people, if you are going to join the defence, do a trade. Don't be a grunt. You know, don't even do a combat role. Do something that you can fall back on after life. You know, go be a medic or something, or be a chippy. But at the same time, I do tell people, don't join, and by that I mean because veterans are being destroyed in family court. Well, you go to family court because they know, oh, shit, we already know the subpoena, Australian Defence Force. And they will subpoena your military record. So anything you say, even though my psych records was clean, you know, right now you might be 18, 19, 20 in the army and you might be going through some stuff and you're telling the psych. You're not thinking about the 10 years later down the track. 10 years later down the track, you might have a child. And guess what? Your relationship breaks down, they subpoena. Stuff that you told the psych that you think is confidential, bullshit. It's not confidential. Yeah, it's confidential to them unless you're suicidal, but if the court subpoena it, they will hand it over. And anything that you said then will be used against you. So you can imagine, and I've actually got people that message me saying, oh, man, I've listened to your story and I haven't joined the army because of that, you know? So it's a hard one, man.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Like, I'm always proud of my mates, proud of my service, like, but, you know, in regards to... And I know it's not the defence fault. I'm not angry at defence. It's
the
family
system.
court system.
Yeah, it's the system.
Yeah, and I know the Australian Defence Force didn't hand everything over, and I would like to think that's them looking after the diggers. It's them looking after themselves. Like, they're not handing over patrol reports and stuff from Afghan and patrol, but they'll hand over just your psych records and your med docs and your general, like, march in at this time and blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
No, it is. Like, I know, mate, you know, I know it personally myself, is that back in the day, joining the military or being a first responder, you know, it was an honourable thing to do. These days, with how the world is, maybe think twice and, you know, maybe is it worth it? Yeah,
that's right, man. I mean, a guy started working with me recently, he joined, like, 2015, I got out 2020, like, no trips, no nothing. He was in a combat role. Like, I couldn't imagine anything worse. Just going to combat role training and not going anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, peacetime, mate. Back to peacetime.
Right.
So, mate, what are your plans going into the future now? Like, and what are you doing now? Like, you've obviously got Broken Fathers podcast, and you just working, trying to get yourself back on your feet.
Yeah, so I do protective services and I do NDOS as well. I've got a legal battle going on in the background with. I just went to ART, Administrative Review Tribunal, last week about this child support. So for listening out there, I'll probably didn't give you a full story. So I'm pro-child support, but the way they calculate it and execute it, I don't think is correct. But also, I'm not supposed to be paying any at all because we made a deal, but they've knocked back that agreement. So I've got a legal battle with them, and until I sort that out, I can't really get ahead in life at the moment because I'm just stuck making ends meet week to week because I'm working my ass off, but they're taking so much. You know, it's just I'm stuck until we can get this agreement. So my plan this year is just to try and get this bonding agreement sorted, and that's my sole focus. Because until I do, I can't really get back on my feet. But I'll just maintain with the podcast this year. Got a lot of guests coming on. I'll try and branch out, get subject matter experts on, like a family report writer. Get someone that owns a supervision contact centre to open up about how it works, how it operates, and try and get a retired family court judge on.
Nice, mate. No. Mate, I've got two final. Well, one question, but then one on, you know, I'll do this one. How do people contact you, mate? If, say, fathers want to get in touch with you and tell their story, how do they find you?
Mate, so Jared Purcell on either Instagram or Facebook, and also Broken Fathers Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. There's links there. If you want the email, just broken.fathers.podcast@gmail.com. I try not to give my number out because my phone just goes off as it is. I turn my phone on airplane mode when I go to bed. People do call me through social media. I do try and get back to people when I can. Not all the time. Depends if I'm low energy or high energy. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the best way.
Yeah, nice. And one final one, mate. What have you learned from your failures in life? What have your failures taught you, man?
Ooh. Resilient. And just take it day by day, you know. I like to think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I've yet to see it on this chapter, but the other chapters I have. But, you know, I try, when you've got so many fires going on at the moment, I just try and extinguish one at a time. Don't be trying to put them all out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you just get burnt out.
Yeah, you just get burnt, yeah, so... I learned that through family court. One of my brothers actually said that. He goes, don't worry about that. Let's just extinguish this one, and then we'll move on to the next. There's too much going on, so... But, yeah.
Nah, mate, great advice to anyone out there who is going through similar. And, you know, you've got the love of your family, your mates, and mate, I'm proud to stand by and call you
thank
mate.
You, brother.
And,
appreciate it, man.
Mate, taking
we've been talking
the time
for some time, so appreciate you coming down.
Mate, I'm more than happy to come up. I always wanted to do yours in person. It was always one that I was adamant that I was like, bro, I'll find a time, man. I'll make this happen. And mate, I want to finish with this because I know, it's this quote, mate. Thank you for your service to our country. I know it's very hard to see it through with everything that's gone on, but mate, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for all the work that you do for the broken fathers. And mate, you are just, if you look up the word in the dictionary, resilient, it's you, man. It's you. And I just want to thank you, mate, for giving up your time to come on True Blue and share your story. So thank you, mate.
Bro, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, bro.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. Happy New Year.
2026.
Cheers, bro.
See you, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to True Blue Conversations with your host, Adam Bloom. Real talk with those that pledge to keep us safe with grit, sacrifice, and determination. See you next time.